Chapter 1955. Inside the Herb Garden. When Morong Yen and the others worked together, they were nearly undefeatable. Without a sovereign personage, they were overlords among holy venerates. The divine dragon bloodline in their bodies was a powerful killing weapon. No one dared to compete with them. The few of them monopolized close to 80% of the harvest in the herb garden, reaping a bountiful harvest. Why is Xiaochen not back yet? Lu Ruyan said somewhat worriedly as she collected the spring water in the medicinal spring. As she looked at the gurgling spring water, she felt somewhat worried. Wei Hongfei smiled at the side and said, "Don't worry. He is very lucky. Back then, when he was alone in the abyssal underworld battlefield, even Rakshasa Tian's clone could not do anything to him. This time, he will be fine as well." Lu Ruyan said, however, that Lu Yuanzong is a sovereign personage. Although he is only an initial perfection sovereign personage, he is not someone that we holy venerates can match. The difference is still too great. When the difference in cultivation was too great, and there was a huge disparity in strength, no matter how many trump cards one had, it would be useless. The moment a sovereign personage's will of soul appeared, they could suppress them on the spot. No matter how many trump cards one had, one would not have the space to bring them out. No matter how unrivaled Xiaochen was among the holy venerates, there would always be a huge difference. There would naturally be a huge gap between Xiaochen and a sovereign personage. Wei Hongfei asked seriously, "Do you want to hear my opinion?" When Lu Ruyan saw Wei Hongfei, she showed a serious expression and asked, "What opinion?" Wei Hongfei said unhurriedly, "I keep feeling that Xiaochen is still hiding a side that we do not know about in the strength we revealed. The strength that we have displayed has always been restrained, like he is purposely hiding it, not willing for others to know about it." Lu Ruyan said, "Are you doubting Xiaochen? How can you do that? After all, he saved your life before." Wei Hongfei sighed softly. "Naturally, I know. However, I can only tell you these opinions. So there is no need to worry too much about Xiaochen. Even if he is not an enemy sovereign personage, I think it should not be difficult for him to leave easily. Without us by his side, we can bring out his strength without any worries." Lu Ruyan entered deep thought at Wei Hongfei's words. She felt that what he said made sense. In fact, the feeling that Xiaochen gave her was also a layer of fog. There were many things that she couldn't see through. What made her feel strange was that Xiaochen's face perfectly matched the outline of her sister's blank painting. She wouldn't believe that there was no mystery to it even if you beat her to death. Just as the two of them were about to continue their conversation, the medicinal garden spirit formation barrier suddenly suffered an intense attack. The entire herb garden was shaking. The expressions of Lu Ruyan and Wei Hongfei changed at the same time. They looked up and said, "Someone is using a soul tool to attack the herb garden's barrier. What happened? Who is it? To think that it is a soul tool. Could it be the 6 great sects? Didn't they all go to the city center? Why are they still using soul tools to attack the herb garden?" The cultivators collecting resources in the herb garden all panicked. Before the attacks of the soul tools, they had nowhere to run. "Assemble!" Wei Hongfei shouted, and Morong Yen and the others quickly gathered over. Their expressions all appeared somewhat grave. Boom! Another horrifying attack tore a huge hole in the herb garden's barrier. Then a few figures quickly entered. The person in the lead held a resplendent sword in his hand, emitting a powerful pressure that shook the surroundings. Ice Cloud Sword. It's the ruling Sword Gate's people. The expressions of Lu Ruyan and the others changed slightly. The ruling Sword Gate cultivator holding the Ice Cloud Sword was Qi Yunfeng, whom they had interacted with before. "Ha ha ha! Look! Look! What did I discover? A herb garden. A herb garden left by a true god. We are going to strike it rich." Qi Yunfeng looked at the medicinal spring, and then at the Pill River. His face lit up with joy. His senior and junior brothers behind him also felt incredibly joyful. They said, "Congratulations, senior brother Qi. The value of this herb garden is even more than our earlier harvests combined." Thinking of leaving? Everyone don't move. Seeing that someone wanted to sneak away, Qi Yunfeng quickly swung the sword in his hand. The fleeing person's aura locked onto that person's, and his soul immediately froze. That person looked no different from an ordinary person. However, his body was incredibly stiff, like he was fixed in place, unable to move. Shatter! Qi Yunfeng shouted, and that person immediately shattered into countless pieces of ice. Then strands of terrifying icy sword qi burst out. Whoosh! 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 Sword qi surged everywhere, and the expressions of the cultivators in the herb garden changed drastically as they scrambled for cover. Some of the cultivators could not dodge in time. The sword qi pierced their bodies and quickly sealed them in ice, turning them into statues. Behave yourselves. Our senior brother Qi doesn't want to go on a killing spree and take your harvest from the herb garden. Hand over all your harvests from the herb garden, and you can leave. Otherwise, you saw what happened to these people. A ruling sword gate disciple behind Qi Yunfeng threatened coldly. Senior brother, there are a few Divine Dragon Empire cultivators over there. They blocked those sword qi. What? Qi Yunfeng looked around and immediately fixed his gaze on Lu Ruyun and the others. After being stunned for a while, he guffawed. Ha ha ha. Interesting, interesting. Unexpectedly, we meet again so soon. You bunch of Divine Dragon Empire bastards. Are you still not going to hand over your harvests? Do you guys want to die? Seeing that the other cultivators were still in a daze, unwilling to hand over their harvests from the herb garden, the other ruling sword gate disciples became enraged. Murong Yen retorted indifferently, hand over my ass. You are just relying on a soul tool to intimidate others. Without this sword, this old man can teach you how to behave. Qi Yunfeng smiled coldly and said, even at death's door, you still dare to be stubborn. If I do not teach you a lesson, you will not know how powerful I am. Everyone else can leave. Today, I will leave you all behind. Many thanks, young Master Qi. Young Master Qi, you are really bold. Young Master Qi really has good eyes. Their group occupies more than 80% of the natural treasures in this herb garden. We are just small fries. When the other cultivators in the herb garden heard this, they rejoiced and quickly fled. Let's test his strength first. If it is just an ice cloud sword, given our strength, there is nothing to fear. He will not be able to bring out much of its might. Situ Changfeng's voice rang out in everyone's minds. Should we leave? We cannot leave for now. We still do not know what state Xiaochen is in. If his combat prowess is weakened after he comes out, it will be somewhat problematic for him to face this ice cloud sword. Yes. Wei Hongfei's voice rang out in everyone's minds, sounding incredibly calm. Die. However, Qi Yunfeng did not give them much time to think. The moment he saw the others flee, he immediately attacked. As Qi Yunfeng circulated the ice cloud sword, the ruling sword gate disciples behind him did not dare to be careless. They all executed their secret techniques, continuously draining their soul energy and veritable essence energy to infuse into the ice cloud sword. It turned out that Qi Yunfeng was not the only one controlling this sword. Instead, these people were controlling it at the same time. Clearly, the ruling sword gate's upper echelon wanted this group of people to wield the soul tool and sweep through the resources of the other regions, while the various large sects headed to the city center to search for that mysterious energy source. It had to be said that this move was quite brilliant. Even sovereign personages feared the might of a soul tool. Even if they could bring out only 10 or 20% of its might, it would already be horrifying. Boom. When this sword chopped down, Murong Yen and the others blocked it for a while before getting knocked back. The sword light flowed, and the icy sword qi gave everyone the impression that they could not block it. More importantly, the ice cloud sword might spread out in all directions, covering the entire herb garden and greatly suppressing everyone's strength. Murong Yen wiped off the blood from a corner of his lips. An intense flame burned all over his body, dispersing the cold. He smiled and said, "You are rather strong. However, that is all there is to it. Qi Yunfeng, put in more strength. Don't tell me that you are only capable of this? You bastard. This old man will kill you. Ice cloud sword soldiers at the gates." Murong Yan's mockery enraged Qi Yunfeng. He activated the secret technique of the soul tool and locked it on Murong Yan. Good job. It is time for us to make a move. It turned out that the group had agreed to let Murong Yan attract the firepower while they took down Qi Yunfeng in one go. Morong Yen did not dare to be careless when facing the secret technique of a soul tool. He instantly activated his great desolate Ian bloodline and executed the blood-devouring dragon fist. Morong Yan's entire body burned with a scarlet light as he sent out a blood dragon fist light to clash with the blazing sword intent. Damn it. I fell for it. Activate the sword might and protect me. When Qi Yinfeng attacked, he knew that he fell for a trick. He saw Wei Hongfei and the other three charging at him like beams of cold light, startling him. The other ruling Sword Gate disciples quickly made their moves, forming their own sword arts. Finally, before Lu Ruyun and the others arrived, the Ice Cloud sword might retracted and encased the group. Boom. All sorts of chaotic dragon race martial techniques struck the sword might. The sword might only lasted for a moment before breaking. Qi Yinfeng and the others immediately went flying. They all vomited blood and fell to the ground. However, the sword might blocked most of the damage. Although they were in a sorry state, they did not suffer any major damage in the end. When Lu Ruyun and the others saw this scene, they felt slightly disappointed. They quickly retreated to protect the severely injured Morong Yen. Haha, Qi Yinfeng, you really embarrassed our rank 6 sections. To think that you cannot destroy a group of holy venerates with the Ice Cloud sword. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just at this moment, many figures suddenly appeared in the herb garden. The true inheritors of the other 3 rank 6 sects all rushed in. Every leading disciple held a soul tool in their hands. The situation instantly turned exceptionally chaotic. You all. Qi Yinfeng felt greatly startled. Unexpectedly, so many soul tools appeared in one go. Humph. Do you think that your ruling sword gate is smart, and that the people of the other rank 6 sects are fools? We have been following behind you. Haha. Do you really think that you are unrivaled? This herb garden is ours. Chapter 1956. Inside the cave, under the medicine cauldron. Xiaochen flipped the corpse over and found a jade pendant on the armor. His eyes immediately lit up. The instant Xiaochen held it in his hand, he immediately felt a warmth. What a wondrous feeling. However, before Xiaochen could send his spiritual sense into it, he suddenly sensed an extremely dangerous aura. Xiaochen's expression changed drastically, and he quickly turned around. Whoosh! 3 black chains instantly wrapped around Xiaochen like black lightning. One of the black chains bound Xiaochen's feet, and the other 2 bound his hands. Damn it! Xiaochen's heart sank. He felt like he could not move at all as a huge force continuously pulled him upward. At the same time, strands of evil energy came from the black chains, continuously invading Xiaochen's soul pool, trying to corrode his soul. Just the force of the black chains already made Xiaochen feel weak. This soul energy that corroded the soul was even more difficult to deal with. Xiaochen could only rely on his willpower to resist. Whoosh! Soon, Xiaochen was pulled back into the air above the medicine cauldron. The mysterious existence controlling the chains pulled him back into the medicine cauldron. Divine Dragon War Body. Break. At the crucial moment of life and death, Xiaochen finally expelled the energy corroding his soul. Then he shouted. Vital qi surged in Xiaochen's body, roaring like a river. His body suddenly swelled up, and his dragon might soared. A pair of azure-colored dragon wings crackling with electricity spread out, and all the chains on his body broke. Roar! Dragon roars rang out continuously in the empty cave. The dragon might on Xiaochen's body soared to the level of an initial perfection sovereign personage. Whoosh! 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 Suddenly, 4 or 5 figures charged out of the medicine cauldron's flames. The leader had an overwhelming aura as he roared ferociously. This person forced back Xiaochen's dragon might. This person was the sovereign personage Lu Yuanzong. Black chains also bound his body, and a crazed look flashed in his eyes. Haha! Xiaochen, to think that you have not left yet. Since you haven't left, then stay and become the pill god's slave. Let's flatten the entire world together. To think that Lu Yuanzong could still maintain some rationality. He was very different from the other berserk and ruthless pill slaves. Xiaochen could not help but frown. Such an existence combined with Lu Yuanzong's strength would likely be even more difficult to deal with. Wonder. Ha ha ha. Right now, I am even stronger than a small perfection sovereign personage. As long as you offer your soul to Lord Pill God, you can obtain everything you want. Lu Yuanzong smiled proudly when he saw the expression on Xiao Chen's face. Whoosh. Too lazy to bother with this madman, Xiao Chen flapped his wings, stirring up a strong gust of wind as he flew far away. Lu Yuanzong alone was already difficult to deal with. With the addition of the others, it would probably be even more difficult to deal with. Their chances of victory were slim. You want to leave? This is the Pill God's world, you can't leave. Lu Yuanzong snorted coldly. Pill fire blazed all over his body, making him look neither human nor ghost as he charged at Xiao Chen. His speed was no slower than Xiao Chen's. Dang, dang, dang. After Lu Yuanzong caught up, he quickly attacked, forcing Xiao Chen to turn around. After receiving 10 moves, he vomited a mouthful of blood and went flying back. Just as Xiao Chen was about to land, he flapped his wings and hovered in the air. Do you feel the Pill God's strength? Do you feel a flame attacking your heart? It is very painful, but there is nothing you can do about it. Ha ha ha. Lu Yuanzong teased as he looked at Xiao Chen like a crazed demon. 10 strands of pill fire rushed to Xiao Chen's heart like venomous dragons. The pill fire burned his meridians, feeling like thousands of poisonous needles stabbing at him. Just at this moment, Xiao Chen felt a warmth from the jade pendant in his hand as it drew in all the pill fire in his body. Boom! After absorbing the pill fire, the jade pendant gave off a bright light. Xiao Chen felt a strange pull, like he could control that mysterious, mountain-like medicine cauldron. Rumble! The entire medicine cauldron shook intensely. Heaven and earth shook in the cave, and countless flames poured out. A terrifying and deep voice came from the medicine cauldron. Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Yes, Lord Pill God. Lu Yuanzong's expression changed drastically as he charged at Xiao Chen. At the same time, pill slaves continuously flew over from the medicine cauldron, radiating terrifying auras as they tried to surround and attack Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen dodged continuously as he sent his spiritual sense into the jade pendant. It turned out that this jade pendant was used to store the medicine cauldron. This made sense. The medicine cauldron before Xiao Chen was huge, nearly the size of a mountain range. Ordinary storage rings would not be able to store it. One needed to use additional means to control it. At the same time, this jade pendant could control the flame in the medicine cauldron. Controlling the jade pendant meant controlling the medicine cauldron. However, it was practically impossible for Xiao Chen to completely control the jade pendant in such a short time. Furthermore, with Xiao Chen's veritable essence energy, he could not drive the vast flame in the medicine cauldron. That was the flame released by the astral core. One needed to be at least a divine vein sovereign emperor. The jade pendant had only one use for Xiao Chen. He no longer needed to worry about the pill flame in his body when he fought with Lu Yuanzong. Xiao Chen could control this weak pill flame as he pleased with the jade pendant. The medicine cauldron shook continuously. The existence in it appeared extremely enraged. Those pill slaves did their best to kill Xiao Chen. At the crucial moment, Xiao Chen's heart turned increasingly calm. Everything in this herb garden seemed to have a purpose. While everything looked casual, they actually had a deep meaning. The herb fields were used to stabilize the medicinal energy in the surrounding caves, and then the formations were used to transfer it. The medicinal spring was for maintaining an abundant supply of medicinal energy into the medicine cauldron at all times. The pill river was formed after the medicinal dregs of the divine pills were discharged. What about the coiling dragon tree? Xiao Chen felt like he thought of a crucial point, and his thoughts became increasingly clear. Suddenly, inspiration flashed in Xiao Chen's mind, and he revealed a smile. So that was the case. The coiling dragon tree was used to suppress the demonic nature of the medicinal pill. The coiling dragon tree was divine dragon wood in the first place. The 7-colored coiling dragon tree was of high grade, and could be used to suppress the demonic nature of this great desolate 10,000 beast pill. That must be the case. The herb garden's owner was very meticulous. Everything in this herb garden was connected. How could the owner not think of a way to suppress the demonic nature of the great desolate 10,000 beast pill? However, this coiling dragon tree withered because no one cared for it, resulting in the demonic nature of this medicinal pill. To think that you dare to get distracted. Die. Lu Yuanzong saw Xiao Chun, who had been extremely nimble since he unfurled the blue dragon divine wings, pause for a moment. Lu Yuanzong snorted coldly and gathered a ferocious might. Then a fist light that shook space flew over. However, just as the fist light was about to strike Xiao Chun, the blue dragon divine wings with lightning coiling around it folded together. The wings layered over each other in front of Xiao Chun, encasing him and using the dragon wings to receive the other party's punch. Bang! A surging dragon might surged out, knocking Lu Yuanzong back. Flames rained down from Lu Yuanzong's body, and electric light burst out, blasting his body beyond recognition. After this strike, Xiao Chun's bones contracted and squirmed. He withdrew his divine dragon war body, returning to his original form. What kind of dragon might is this? Light of freedom. As Xiao Chun looked at that medicine cauldron, he turned into a flash of lightning and charged over. Then he turned into a lightning dragon and flew up the medicine cauldron. After a while, he revealed himself at the edge of the medicine cauldron. When Xiao Chun looked down, he saw a terrifying existence in the blazing flames. It looked like it wanted to charge out of the flames and swallow him up. Xiao Chun did not panic. He took out the brocade box and tossed down the 7-colored coiling dragon tree sapling. Whoosh! The grade 8 heaven-ranked medicinal spring above Xiao Chun's head poured out vast medicinal energy again, instantly infusing it into the 7-colored coiling dragon tree sapling. Immediately, the 7-colored coiling dragon tree grew at a visible pace. Then it fell down and suppressed that pill demon. The sapling sprouted branches and leaves. In the blink of an eye, it was 1 kilometer tall. The coiling dragon tree was incredibly thick, its roots firmly planted in the flames. Unexpectedly, the coiling dragon tree could even absorb the energy of this astral flame to nourish itself. Xiao Chun recalled that the coiling dragon tree in the Red Dragon Palace seemed to use flames as nourishment. Hence, it was not strange that this 7-colored coiling dragon tree used flames as nourishment. Miserable cries came from the medicine cauldron as it shook continuously. The chains on the pill slaves flying at Xiao Chun fell off. All of them were like flowers that lost their nourishment, instantly withering. No. Lu Yuanzong cried out in horror. However, he could not change anything. His life force drained away, and his body continuously withered. A sovereign personage died just like that, paying a heavy price for his greed. Chapter 1957. The true inheritors of the 4 rank 6 sects all held soul tools as they guarded a corner in the herb garden. The original situation of the ruling sword gates Qi Yunfeng dominating the herb garden turned into 4 people fighting for supremacy. If it were just the ruling sword gate, even if Qi Yunfeng had a soul tool, Morong Yen and the others would not fear him. Even if they could not defeat him, they could still leave at any time. However, now that the people of the 4 rank 6 sects, the ruling sword gate, the Northern Mountain Academy, the Wolf Smoke Pavilion, and the White Sun sect, appeared, things became somewhat problematic. They could not leave even if they wanted to. Friends from the Divine Dragon Empire, we do not have any personal grudges with you. You can leave after offering up half the resources in the herb garden. Don't even think about the rest of the medicinal spring and pill river. The true inheritor of the Northern Mountain Academy, who was dressed like a white-clad scholar, spoke indifferently as he held a folding fan in his hand. The White Sun sect and the Wolf Smoke Pavilion both expressed their agreement with the white-clad scholar's suggestion. They would not go overboard with Murong Yen and the others. The strong preyed on the weak. Given that they held a great advantage, this group of people was already very generous in asking Murong Yen and the others to hand over only half the resources. Of course, this was because Murong Yan's group was a disciple of the Dragon's Gate. If it were loose cultivators or disciples of other sects, not to mention half the harvest, it would already be very fortunate if they did not hand over the resources that belonged to them in the first place. Situ Changfeng and Wei Hongfei discussed for a while, and came to an answer. They could only do this. However, the reason for their hesitation was that Xiao Chun was still in the medicinal spring, and had not come out yet. They could not contact him with the Dragon's Gate's identity token, so they did not know what happened. This worried them. Suddenly, Qi Yunfeng said with a cold smile, "You fellows, stop pretending to be good people before me. If you knew that their group monopolized a demonic blood thousand-winged snake's corpse 7 days ago, would you still make such a decision? What? The moment Qi Yunfeng said that, the expressions of the white-clad scholar from the Northern Mountain Academy, the wolf-armored cultivator from the Wolf Smoke Pavilion, and the pretty woman from the White Sun sect changed slightly. A demonic blood thousand-winged snake, an overlord-class ferocious beast, that is worth more than 10 million primeval heavenly pills. As they looked at Morong Yan's group, greed immediately appeared in their eyes. To them, Morong Yan's group was like sparkling gold. Haha. Qi Yunfeng, oh Qi Yunfeng, you hit it extraordinarily well. You are really broad-minded. I'm afraid you didn't even tell your own group of junior brothers. You're quite a loner. The leading wolf-armored cultivator from the Wolf Smoke Pavilion held a strangely shaped, ferocious, and tyrannical dragon-toothed saber as he mocked. Qi Yunfeng said coldly, cut the crap. The most important thing now is to keep this group of people here. You are just a bunch of Dragon's Gate Outer Palace disciples. I don't know what you are afraid of. Just kill them. Shua. The white-clad scholar silently opened the folding fan in his hand, and the might of a soul tool slowly spread out. He smiled faintly and said, sorry, as the saying goes, it is better to offend a gentleman than a vile person. Sometimes, provoking an existence like Brother Qi is really a troublesome matter. Humph. A bunch of hypocrites. None of them are good people. Lu Ruyun frowned slightly as she looked coldly at the others. However, she did not show any fear. As the White Dragon King's daughter, she naturally had many life-saving trump cards that the White Dragon King left on her. However, once she used them, her father would definitely find out. Now she had no choice but to use them. This girl is rather good-looking and has a fiery character. If you are willing to follow me, I might be happy and let you all go. The wolf-armored cultivator from the Wolf Smoke Pavilion looked at Lu Ruyun, desire flashing in his eyes. The girl before him gave off a special air. She looked valiant, and her facial features were exquisite. Aside from being pleasing to the eye, she also gave off a different air. Dream on! Lu Ruyun shouted, and a saber light turned into countless flying willow leaves. Then they gathered into a white dragon. The white dragon flew towards the wolf-armored cultivator. Boom! The white dragon appeared very suddenly. When the wolf-armored cultivator swung his saber at it, he got knocked back because he underestimated his opponent. The willow leaves scattered. Tens of thousands of willow leaves scattered with the wind, whistling away. When the willow leaves pierced through the wolf-armored cultivator, his body was covered in wounds and blood. A terrifying murderous intent appeared in the wolf-armored cultivator's eyes, and his expression turned extremely sullen. However, the white-clad scholar's expression suddenly changed. He looked at Lu Ruyun and said, Willow Leaf Saber, what is your relationship with the White Dragon Holy Daughter? Humph. No matter who you are related to today, I will personally kill you. The wolf-armored cultivator roared and unsealed the dragon-tooth saber in his hand. Boom. The might of a soul tool surged out. Whoosh. 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 Wei Hongfei and the others quickly shielded Lu Ruyun. They all made their moves, preparing to deal with the strike of this soul tool, the dragon-tooth saber. Just as the battle was about to erupt, a towering tree suddenly sprouted from the center of the gushing medicinal spring. The tree frantically absorbed the spiritual energy in the herb garden, growing at a visible rate. The coiling dragon tree blocked the horrifying strike of the dragon-tooth saber. Rumble. The entire herb garden was shaken by the sudden change. Cracks even appeared on the ground. What's going on? This sudden appearance of the coiling dragon tree startled everyone. The white-clad scholar and the others held up their soul tools and cautiously retreated to a corner of the herb garden. This is a coiling dragon tree. The eyes of the pretty woman leading the White Sun sect exclaimed as her eyes lit up. This coiling dragon tree has a very strong life force. To think that it directly bore fruit. What exactly is going on? Just as the true inheritors of the 4-rank 6 sects felt confused, someone with sharp eyes suddenly exclaimed, Look! There is a person on the tree. Doubt flashed in the wolf-armored cultivator's eyes as he quickly squinted. Indeed, there was a person holding a simple and unadorned treasure bow. That's not right. That bow is aimed at me. The wolf-armored cultivator's expression changed dramatically. A threat of death that he could not get rid of appeared in his heart. He shouted, "Protect me! Protect me! Quickly, help me activate the dragon-tooth saber secret technique." However, by the time the wolf-armored cultivator reacted, it was already over. The Wolf Smoke Pavilion true inheritors at the back had just formed hand seals when the arrows from the god shadow bows shot out. Xiao. The shadow of a god was invisible and formless. Ordinary people couldn't even see the trajectory of it. Bang! The wolf-armored cultivator's dragon-tooth saber was blasted away. A horrifying wound appeared on his chest. He was crippled on the spot. If not for the soul tool in the wolf-armored cultivator's hand blocking most of the impact, the wolf-armored cultivator would have died on the spot. His companions behind him were affected by the shockwaves and were sent flying while vomiting blood. A soul tool. This bow is a soul tool. Furthermore, its grade is even higher than ours. The Northern Mountain Academy's white-clad scholar, the White Sun Sect's pretty woman, and the ruling Sword Gate's Qi Yunfeng were all startled. As the wolf-armored cultivator struggled to get up, he suddenly discovered a gaze on him. Immediately, he felt like he had fallen into an ice cave. A chill invaded his body, chilling his limbs and bones. Xiaochen was looking at him coldly, expressionless and silent. I'll go now. Fear lingered in the wolf-armored cultivator's heart, unable to disperse. His voice trembled somewhat. Don't offend people you should not offend. Don't say things you should not say. It is too late to leave now, Xiaochen said indifferently. Earlier, in the medicinal spring, he happened to hear the wolf-armored cultivator say good things to Lu Ruyun. At that moment, the wolf-armored cultivator was already a dead man in Xiaochen's heart. The wolf-armored cultivator's heart turned cold. He explained, "There must be some misunderstanding. I can explain." Seeing that Xiaochen seemed to want to kill, the white-clad scholar said, "This brother, do not go overboard. We are from the nearby rank 6 sections. If you kill him, you will offend the Wolf Smoke Pavilion. You can forget about leaving this ancient city alive." Xiaochen said sullenly, "Is that so? However, not only do I want to kill him, but I also want to spare you." The saber intent silently permeated the wolf-armored cultivator's body. Then Xiaochen stretched out his hand and clenched it. Thousands of saber lights burst out of the wolf-armored cultivator's body, which had already been severely injured by the god Shadow Bow. He died on the spot, turning into mush without a corpse remaining. "Senior brother." The Wolf Smoke Pavilion disciples cried out in horror. The white-clad scholar paled in fright. He could not help taking a step back. He said, "You are seeking death. If the three of us work together, you will not be able to survive." Whoosh! Right after the white-clad scholar spoke, Qi Yunfeng flew off on his sword. While the white-clad scholar was distracted by Xiaochen, he led the ruling Sword Gate disciples in fleeing for their lives. When the White Sun Sect's people saw that the situation was bad, they also fled far away. The white-clad scholar's face immediately drained of all color. His heart sank. Chapter 1958. Bang. Two loud sounds rang out. It was not Xiaochen continuing to attack. Instead, it was the White Sun Sect disciples, and the ruling Sword Gate disciples crashing into the herb garden's barrier. The two sect disciples flew out too fast. In the end, they crashed even harder, falling to the ground. What's going on? This barrier does not look like it is meant to seal the inside. The expressions of Qi Yunfeng and the others changed slightly, revealing confused expressions. Earlier, they had seen those cultivators run out without any obstruction. Naturally, the reason was that these people had been absorbing the spiritual energy in the herb garden for a moment after entering. The spiritual energy in their bodies had completely merged with the herb garden. After Xiaochen's warning, the others did not absorb the spiritual energy in the herb garden. Naturally, they could walk out easily. Damn it! How can it be like this? Qi Yunfeng cursed. However, he did not say anything more. He prepared to gather the ruling Sword Gate disciples and attack with their soul tools. "Sorry, I did not intend to let you go." Firmament's rage. Xiaochen directly threw a palm strike. The fingers of the gigantic hand were like sabers, flickering with electricity. Then it smashed down with the rage of a great desolate Aeon ancestor dragon. You are going too far. Qi Yinfeng felt incensed. He could only change the direction of the ice cloud sword's attack to clash with this horrifying palm strike. Bang! The instant the gigantic palm landed, the ice cloud sword pierced through the soul tool. However, Qi Yinfeng and the others showed extremely unsightly expressions. This was especially so for the sect disciples at the back. Blood leaked out of their lips. Senior brother, we have already overdrawn on our veritable essence energy. If we continue, we will overdraw on our soul energy. Even with the strength of a few people, a soul tool was not that easy to control. Qi Yinfeng looked at Xiao Chun and said, Xiao Chun, what exactly do you want? The White Sun Sect's pretty girl, the Northern Mountain Academy's white-clad scholar, and Qi Yinfeng all felt somewhat anxious from Xiao Chun. If this continued, they would end up in a life-and-death struggle, fighting with their lives on the line. When the white-robed scholar saw that the other two did not succeed in leaving, he heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at Xiao Chun and said, Xiao Chun, don't go overboard. Even a cornered dog will jump over a wall. Don't force people into a corner. Lu Ruyun and the others could not help feeling nervous. They leaped onto the coiling dragon tree and stood behind Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun looked at the white-clothed scholar and said with a snicker, So what if I'm forced into a corner? Do you still want to fight me to the death? Do you dare? If you dared to risk your life, you would have done so long ago. Why do you need to deceive yourself? You want to fight to the death? I, Xiao Chun, am afraid of everything, but I am not afraid of fighting to the death with you people. Whoever dares to move, I will see. Xiao Chun twirled the god shadow bow in his hand and locked onto the three. The others were so frightened that they took a few steps back. Their faces darkened, and they didn't dare to say anything. God shadow bow. As the three looked at the soul tool in Xiao Chun's hand, they revealed horrified expressions as they fought to the death with Xiao Chun. They did not know whether Xiao Chun could survive or not. However, if Xiao Chun used his full power on the bow in the other party's hand, they would definitely die. Fighting to the death was just a pretense to deceive themselves. If they did not even believe themselves, how could they scare Xiao Chun? They could only mock them. As the three looked at the white-clad, expressionless Xiao Chun on the coiling dragon tree, they felt uncertain. They could sense a strong aura from Xiao Chun. This caused them to feel the pressure that could only be felt when facing the elders of the sect. Their mental state and cultivation were on a completely different level. Xiao Chun took in the reactions of the three. Disdain flashed in his heart as he said, My request is very simple. Do what you did to my companions earlier. Ah. The moment Xiao Chun said that, the white-clothed scholar and the others were startled. Xiao Chun wanted them to spit out all their gains from earlier. This could not be tolerated. Young Master Xiao, these are our gains in the ancient city. Leave them all. Before the three could say anything, the Wolf Smoke Pavilion disciples who had lost their leader took out the natural treasures they had obtained in the ancient city and placed them on the ground. Xiao Chun waved his hand, and an opening appeared in the herb garden's barrier. Those people felt like they were relieved of a heavy burden. Then they picked up their dragon tooth sabers and rushed out. Such a scene was inconceivable to the white-clad scholar and the others. How could Xiao Chun control the herb garden's barrier? They needed to use a soul tool to open an opening. To think that Xiao Chun managed to do it easily with a casual wave of his hand. The white-clad scholar's heart immediately thumped. His final bit of courage was gone. The white-clad scholar's expression turned sullen. After discussing with the others, he took out the resources and placed them on the ground. Every time the white-clad scholar took out a portion, his heart bled. He went for wool and came home shorn. Originally, he wanted to make a huge profit from this group of dragon race cultivators. Who knew he ended up losing his gains? Is that enough? The white-clad scholar asked through clenched teeth. Xiao Chun nodded and gestured for them to do as they pleased. With a thought, an opening appeared in the herb garden's barrier and let them out. Following that, the White Sun Sect's people were forced to do the same. They handed over their gains and left as well. Qi Yunfeng's expression changed unpredictably, appearing uncertain. He felt extremely depressed and upset in his heart. Qi Yunfeng originally thought that this was a rare chance to turn the situation around. Unexpectedly, he ran into this group of dragon race cultivators again. Not only could he wash away his previous humiliation, but he could also recoup his losses with interest. Who could have imagined that the moment Xiaochen appeared, the situation would instantly turn around? Senior brother, we already overdrew on our veritable essence energy. The ruling Sword Gate disciples behind complained bitterly. The ruling Sword Gate disciples at the back complained bitterly. The Ice Cloud Sword was very powerful, but it was not easy to control. The few attacks exhausted these people's veritable essence energy. Shut up. Do you think I don't know? Qi Yunfeng cursed as he took out the resources and placed them on the ground. His heart filled with sullenness and displeasure. When it was about time, Qi Yunfeng looked at Xiaochen and angrily said, "Green robes should not flow forever. Xiaochen, just you wait. Don't let me run into you again. Let's go." "You talk too much." Xiaochen immediately became slightly angry. Originally, letting this Qi Yunfeng off was already showing mercy. Who could have imagined that this person would still dare to boast shamelessly after leaving? A spot of heart flame appeared on Xiaochen's fingertip. He drew the bow, pulled the bowstring, and released. Qi Yunfeng dead. The divine image pierced through the heart. The might of the arrow instantly shattered all of Qi Yunfeng's life force. The heart flame spread, and his eyes slowly lost color. Qi Yunfeng did his best to turn his head, wanting to see Xiaochen again. His heart filled with regret. Why did he have to be so shameless? Wouldn't it have been better for the white-clad scholar and the White Sun Sect's people to leave quietly? If Qi Yunfeng had another chance, he definitely would not have been so shameless. His mouth felt good for a moment, and it repaid itself in an instant. Senior brother. The remaining true inheritors of the ruling Sword Gate were all frightened silly, not daring to say anything. They also did not dare to look at Xiaochen. After using the Ice Cloud Sword to create an exit, they fled for their lives, running as far away from the herb garden as they could. Good kill. Back then, we could have left. However, this fellow jumped out and spoke of us killing the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, nearly causing us all to die. Murongyan said ruthlessly as he looked at Qi Yunfeng with some disgust. Sita Changfeng said, "This person asked for it. Back then, when we killed the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, he already had bad intentions. Even though he was clearly not strong, he wanted to work with eccentric Tai and the others to suppress us. He is a classic fence-sitter." Sita Changfeng said, "This person asked for it. Back then, when we were dealing with the demonic blood thousand-winged snake, he already had bad intentions." Xiaochen put away the god shadow bow and calmed himself. Then he said, "Let's not talk about this person. There are some coiling dragon fruits on this coiling dragon tree. After we pick them, we should leave quickly." Lu Rian asked, "Xiaochen, what exactly happened below? Also, how did this seven-colored coiling dragon tree grow so big in an instant? What exactly is going on? What about the others? What about the sovereign personage Lu Yuanzong?" Murongyan and the others all felt incredibly curious, wanting to know what happened below the medicinal spring. "I'll explain it to you later. The matters below are too complicated. This herb garden is no longer safe. If we continue waiting, I will not be able to control the situation." At this moment, the coiling dragon tree and the pill demon were in an intense battle to the death in the medicine cauldron. The pill demon was not resigned to being suppressed, resisting to the death. However, Xiaochen did not know the result. Naturally, if the pill demon was suppressed to death, that would be the best result. However, if the pill demon came out, Xiaochen did not dare to imagine the consequences. When the others saw Xiaochen's grave expression, they did not dare to delay, quickly picking the coiling dragon fruits of various colors on the tree. Xiaochen landed and collected all the harvests of the white-clad scholar and the others. Then he turned his head back to look at the coiling dragon tree. A trace of reluctance appeared in his eyes. What a pity for this seven-colored coiling dragon tree, the medicinal spring, and the pill river. Originally, Xiaochen had wanted to leave the sapling behind. In the future, when the Kunlun Realm's Dragon's Gate disciples came up, they could quickly increase their strength. Chapter 1959. Under the white-clad scholar's lead, the Northern Mountain Academy's group left the herb garden feeling extremely depressed. They only calmed their emotions after a long time. After all, this group had soul tools. As long as they did not run into a strange person like Xiao Chen, they would be able to reap great benefits in the ancient city if they put in some effort. Even if they ran into a sovereign personage, they would be able to hold their own without fear. No matter what, he absolutely could not run into Xiao Chen. Senior brother, where are we going now? The white-clad scholar replied. We cannot remain in the southern city. We came from the western city. That leaves only the northern and eastern city. Let's go to the eastern city. As far as I know, not many people go there. With a soul tool, we can dominate. Alright, I'll listen to senior brother. The group executed their movement techniques and continuously leaped from roof to roof in the ancient city. As they rose and fell, they traveled a long distance. These people were not weak. However, when they ran into Xiao Chen, they paled in comparison. When the god Shadow Bao clashed with the soul tool, it completely countered it. On a street in the eastern city, a white-clad monk looked at the item in his hand with joy on his face. Just earlier, he finally walked out of the blood rain that no one dared to touch. Indeed, he had obtained a great fortuitous encounter in this dangerous land. It turned out that there was a drop of divine blood at the end of the blood rain. This was a drop of martial god essence blood containing a divine nature. If one could refine it all, the benefits would be extremely startling. Unfortunately, even a sovereign emperor could not refine it all. At most, one would have to spend more than 10 years to slowly digest it. Otherwise, one might explode and die at any moment. The white-clad monk knew his own strength. He only took a trace of this drop of divine blood and used it for himself. Even if it was just a trace, less than 1% of the drop of divine blood, it still benefited the white-clad monk greatly. Even so, Xiao Chen still received boundless benefits. His physical body and bloodline were thoroughly purified. There was also some divine might that merged with his Buddhist might, making it even more wondrous. Someone is coming. The white-clad monk looked up into the distance. A group of people quickly leaped from roof to roof appeared at the limits of his vision. A soul tool? The white-clad monk focused his gaze on the folding fan in the white-clad scholar's hand. With one glance, he recognized the grade of the folding fan. However, this wasn't what surprised him. What surprised him was that this person had a trace of an aura that he was rather familiar with. The aura of an old friend. The white-robed monk muttered to himself. Who was his old friend? Who was he? Naturally, this person was the Black Lotus Church's only remaining holy son Ming Xian. The Black Lotus Holy Venerate's death allowed him to break out of his cocoon and become a butterfly. His comprehension of the Buddhist Dharma improved further. After making arrangements for the Black Lotus Church, Xiao Chen went to the central Great Realm alone. Treasure Path of Buddha Light. The white-robed monk's hands moved, forming hand seals. Buddhist light gathered above the dome. In the next moment, a golden path was carved out, and the white-robed monk stepped onto it. The golden path brought him along like an aurora movie, flying away. However, his clothes did not move in the slightest, and he looked rather calm and composed. In just a moment, he appeared in front of the people from the Northern Mountain Academy. Where did this monk come from? Move aside, don't block the way. The white-robed scholar looked at this monk. Although he chided him, he did not dare to underestimate this monk at all. The white-robed scholar silently opened the folding fan in his hand, and the might of a soul tool encased the group. The holy son Ming Xian looked at the white-robed scholar and said, I do not have any malicious intent. I just sensed the aura of an old friend on you. Who did you see earlier? I hope you can tell me. The moment the white-robed scholar said that, he immediately became enraged. Being humiliated by Xiao Chen earlier was the greatest humiliation of his life. How could he let others know? To think that this monk actually wanted him to say at the moment he opened his mouth. How could this be? An old friend? Wait a minute. Could this person be acquainted with Xiao Chen and is his friend? If I can subdue him, I might be able to recoup my losses from Xiao Chen. With this thought, the white-robed scholar could not help surging with a murderous chi. You do not have any malicious intent, but I do. Kill. The white-robed scholar gently waved the folding fan in his hand. Immediately, the Confucian scriptures in the fan started chanting. A vast righteous chi gathered above the white-robed scholar's head. The might of a soul tool is indeed extraordinary. The holy sun Ming Xian dodged by a hair's breadth. However, the fan's shock wave still struck him. The vast Confucian scriptures rang out in his ears, one word at a time. Bang, bang, bang. The holy sun Ming Xian's mind shook, and his qi and blood surged. He vomited a mouthful of blood, and his complexion paled slightly. Don't blame me for being too ruthless. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being acquainted with Xiao Chun and befriending someone you should not have. The white-robed scholar's attack succeeded, and his righteous qi grew even stronger. He said seriously, "Life is like a dream, the curtain falls on prosperity." The scene in the folding fan immediately changed, showing 100 years of life. The curtain falls on prosperity, life is like a dream. As the palm strike flew over, it looked like a dream. It was like real life was just a dream in the first place. The holy sun Ming Xian smiled faintly and said, "So you really do know an old friend. Black Lotus secret technique, destroy." The Buddhist prayer beads in the holy sun Ming Xian's hand instantly formed a horrifying hand seal. Buddhist might surged all over his body, brewing horrifying energy. However, it was like the calm before the storm. There were no energy fluctuations coming from Ming Xian's body at all. Only when the holy sun Ming Xian stretched out his hand did all his energy erupt at this moment. Boom! A black Buddha statue appeared behind the holy sun Ming Xian. Its eyes showed an expression of loathing for everything in the world as it shouted. The tall building under the holy sun Ming Xian instantly turned to dust. The white-robed scholar bore the brunt of the attack. Before this secret technique, the holy sun Ming Xian appeared extremely petty, immediately getting blasted away. Bang! 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 When the dust settled, everything within 1 kilometer of Ming Xian was empty. No buildings could be seen. The many Northern Mountain Academy disciples were blasted into pieces. Their mangled corpses littered the place. Boom! Ming Xian's figure flashed. When he landed, he stepped on the chest of the white-robed scholar, who was struggling to get up. A miserable shriek rang out. The holy sun Ming Xian remained indifferent. He said indifferently, "You are not the only one with a soul tool. Now, can you tell me what happened to you earlier?" I'll talk. The white-robed scholar said with some difficulty, feeling unbearable pain. After the white-robed scholar finished speaking, the holy sun Ming Xian kicked the white-robed scholar into the air. Then he said sullenly, "What a coincidence. However, I have an appointment with someone, so I won't be looking for you now." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After learning about Xiao Chen's whereabouts, the white-robed scholar moved quickly. 1 hour later, on a tall building in the ancient city. "You are late." When Ming Xian reached the tall building, a mysterious person shrouded in scarlet shadows spoke to him indifferently. This person exuded a strong evil demonic Dao aura, a stark difference from the calm and peaceful Ming Xian. However, these two people with completely different auras ended up together. I was delayed on the way. The east gate was indeed difficult to reach. However, it should not be too late now. The mysterious scarlet shadow person looked at the center of the ancient city and said, "It is not that easy for those undying old men of the heavenly lodging palace and the 4-rank 6 sects to break the restrictions. How surprising! Who could have thought that an ancient city left behind by a true god would appear in desolate God Valley?" Ming Xian looked at the center of the city, where a mysterious crystal core supported the vast spiritual energy in the city, controlling everything in the city. That was a divine crystal that contained divine Tao energy. Even a sovereign personage would not know how valuable it was. Only sovereign emperors who surpassed sovereign personages could understand a little about these existences that surpassed the mortal realm. Divine crystals held a fatal attraction. Ming Xian said softly, "To think that no sovereign emperors arrived. This is the most surprising thing. It looks like this ancient city is indeed appearing for the first time. The heavenly lodging palace did not know what was in there, either. This is an opportunity for us." Xiao Chen did not know where the two got their confidence from, daring to barge into the center of the city. The rank 6 sects and the heavenly lodging palaces' sovereign personages gathered there. Everyone could tell that the center of the city had the greatest fortuitous encounter. However, as long as one knew one's limits, one would not take such a huge risk by getting involved. Inside the herb garden, Xiaochen, there is a total of 10-odd coiling dragon fruits of all attributes. This is a great harvest. The coiling dragon fruit's effects are not much weaker than your heaven dragon fruit, Morong Yen said joyfully. Morong Yen said joyfully. To think that the coiling dragon tree could sprout leaves and bear fruit in a short time. All of them were astonished by what they saw. Let's go. We can't stay here any longer, Xiaochen said softly as he put away the coiling dragon fruits. However, this coiling dragon tree seems to be continuing to grow. Should we not wait a little longer? Morong Yen asked. The coiling dragon tree had already grown to 3 kilometers, but it had not given up. Clearly, it would bear more coiling dragon fruits. When Xiaochen saw this, he felt that it was a pity. If Xiaochen had not given the immortal spirit ring to Ao Jiao, he could have ignored that pill demon and directly collected this tree. However, that was all he could do now. Let's go. Let's go to the city. I feel that there are even greater fortuitous encounters there. Chapter 1960. The group left the herb garden one after another. Then, Xiaochen turned his head back to look at the coiling dragon tree and the pill river. There was also the huge medicine cauldron at the bottom of the herb garden, where the others could not see. All of this held an incredible allure for Xiaochen. I can't just give up. While the others were not paying attention, Xiaochen casually formed a hand seal. Life bestowal spell. Some of the soil in the herb garden gathered and turned into a lively little bird, which became Xiaochen's eyes. If the pill demon was destroyed, then Xiaochen would do his best to subdue this coiling dragon tree and that incomparably huge medicine cauldron. Xiaochen, why don't we refine this coiling dragon fruit here? It can increase our strength significantly in a short time. Situ Changfeng suggested to Xiaochen. Situ Changfeng suggested to Xiaochen. The others were filled with anticipation as well, eager to give it a try. Xiaochen looked at the surroundings and nodded. Go ahead and refine it. I'll stand guard for you. Morong Yen took out the coiling dragon fruit. Dragon-shaped spiritual energy swirled around the group. The different colors represented different attributes. Morong Yen chose the red one. That was a fire-attributed coiling dragon fruit. If others consumed it, not only would it be useless, but it would even harm their bodies and minds. However, if the red dragon race members consumed it, they would benefit from both. Their soul energy and veritable essence energy would increase significantly. They would also gain great comprehension of the fire Tao, which had boundless wondrous uses. Morong Yen received the coiling dragon fruit and smiled. In our red dragon palace, only elders can consume the coiling dragon fruit. Disciples have to complete very difficult missions. Disciples have to complete very difficult missions, or have exceptionally outstanding cultivations to be rewarded. Master said that when I enter Ancestor Dragon City, he will reward me with one. Ha ha ha. I can refine it now. When I return, I will probably be so shocked that my jaw will drop. After the others received the coiling dragon fruit, they all revealed joyful expressions. However, Lu Ruyin was surprised. She did not have a choice. She shook her head and said, I don't need it. I already refined a similar fruit 3 months ago. It would be a waste to refine it again. Xiaochen shoved the coiling dragon fruit to her and said, There is no need to be afraid of wasting this thing. It is fine as long as it is not harmful. This white coiling dragon fruit is actually quite suitable for you. Leaving it in my hands would be a true waste. Lu Ruyin smiled helplessly and received it. The few of them began to refine it. Xiaochen guarded it carefully. There were a lot of death servants here, so someone had to protect them. The Deadpool was extremely difficult to deal with, but as long as he was not surrounded, it would not be a big problem. Xiaochen looked at the center of Xie City and was a little puzzled. What exactly was there? The dense spiritual energy that filled the entire city came from that point. The energy of the various restrictions and formations in the city also came from that point. That place should also be extremely dangerous, not a place ordinary people could go. 1 hour later, Murong Yen and the others woke up one after another. Strong auras surged out from their bodies. Their auras were clearly much stronger than before. Let's go. Setting off again, Xiao Chen's party's speed was much faster. Along the way, they met many cultivators and had some harvests. However, compared to what Xiao Chen and the others had obtained in the herb garden, it was nothing. However, as Xiao Chen approached the center of the city, he encountered fewer and fewer cultivators. One could clearly feel that the atmosphere in the air had become much heavier. The formless might and pressure placed an increasingly heavier restriction on them. The deeper they went, the more they felt it. How terrifying. I feel like my strength is suppressed by about 10%, Murong Yen said with a grave expression. As he looked at the unknown center of the city, he felt pressure. This is actually good news for us. This is actually good news for us. The pressure on sovereign personages will be even greater, Situ Changfeng calmly analyzed. Xiao Chen felt that his strength was suppressed by about 20%, much more severely than Murong Yen and the others. Situ Changfeng was right. The stronger one was, the greater the restrictions they would face. However, at the same time, Xiao Chen was shocked to discover that his physical strength was not suppressed. Under such pressure, his vital qi became even heavier. This was a piece of comforting news. Wait, there's the sound of fighting. Suddenly, Xiao Chen stopped and listened attentively. Situ Changfeng closed his eyes. In the next moment he opened them and said, "It came from the west. I seem to hear some familiar voices. I heard them. It's Zhongli and the Golden Dragon Palace's Qin Outyin." Situ Changfeng was skilled in the Wind Great Tao. He could clearly hear the faint sounds coming from the wind. With an advantage that the others didn't have, the few of them were quite convinced of his judgment. Murong Yen smiled and said, "Zhongli actually allied himself with Qin Outyin. Interesting. No wonder he has the confidence to fall out with us." Xiao Chen recalled that he seemed to have beaten up this Qin Outyin before. He asked seriously, "What is Qin Outyin's background?" Finding this strange, Murong Yen asked, "You don't know? His first brother is known as the top expert of the Golden Dragon Palace. He was already a late-stage holy venerate many years ago. He grasped two great Tao, and even comprehended the Emperor Dragon's mysteries. Although he is known as the top expert of the Golden Dragon Palace, he is actually the top expert of the Outer Palace. Wei Hongfei should be clearer on this." Wei Hongfei ignored Murong Yen. He said with a grave expression, "They probably ran into the group of people I met earlier, the mortal enemies of the dragon race." Murong Yan's expression changed slightly. "Do we need help? I'm afraid we have no choice." Situ Changfeng said, "They are currently being chased. The direction they are fleeing in happens to be where we are." Indeed, right after Situ Changfeng spoke, hurried footsteps came from the front. Hurried footsteps came from ahead. Soon, Zhongli, Lu Yunfei, Qin Outyin, and the others appeared before them in somewhat sorry states. Aside from Qin Outyin, who was in a slightly better state, the others were all injured. Ah! A miserable shriek rang out. A saber light struck a dragon race disciple who was running too slowly. The black saber light turned into a malicious spirit, continuously gnawing on the other party's physical body and soul. The miserable shriek was incredibly mournful, making everyone tremble in fear and their legs go soft. "What saber technique is this?" Murong Yen asked with a somewhat trembling voice. This was too evil. He had never seen it before. "We have never seen anyone with a saber before." The Green Dragon Palace's Duan Fei said softly. When Zhongli and the others saw Xiao Chen, they were startled. Then they said joyfully, "Xiao Chen, Wei Hongfei, you came at a good time. We ran into the Flood Dragon humans. Help us block them." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Before they could react, the pursuers had already arrived. A group of black-clothed men wearing masks that covered the lower half of their faces, revealing only their foreheads and eyes, as well as a man wearing a bamboo hat wielding a saber, appeared. When Wei Hongfei saw the leader of the black-clad men, his expression changed drastically. He cried out hoarsely, "Yan Songming." Although that person wore a mask, Wei Hongfei immediately recognized his eyes. This was the Flood Dragon human Yan Songming, whom Wei Hongfei fought in the abyssal underworld battlefield. His strength was still fresh in Wei Hongfei's mind. With one hand, Yan Songming beat Wei Hongfei until he could not retaliate. I was wondering who it was. It turns out that it is a group of defeated people. Yan Songming only glanced at Wei Hongfei before shifting his gaze to Xiao Chen. He said seriously, very good. Unexpectedly, you are here as well. Zhenyuan, you should be very happy, right? Whoosh. The bamboo hat man removed the conical bamboo hat from his head and waved it. The conical bamboo hat immediately shot toward Xiao Chen. As it spun around, it actually turned into a black dragon image. When it arrived before Xiao Chen, the black dragon image appeared and roared ferociously. A berserk dragon might surged out. This stunned Morong Yen and the others. They felt immense pressure and could not help taking a step back. Bang! Xiao Chen calmly attacked, throwing a punch and shattering that black dragon image along with the conical bamboo hat. Boundless shrapnel flew into the air. Xiao Chen, it has been a long time since we last met. Under the conical bamboo hat was a face that Xiao Chen was very familiar with. It was the profound light temple's Zhenyuan. However, he now had hair, and his face looked older. When Xiao Chen saw that strand of saber light earlier, he had already suspected it. Unexpectedly, it really was Zhenyuan. After absorbing the Black Dragon King's strong demonic nature, Zhenyuan actually did not turn crazy. Not only that, but Zhenyuan even mingled with the Flood Dragon humans, who once followed the Black Dragon King. Damn. These dragon race cultivators with divine dragon bloodlines. I'll leave them to you, Xiao Chen. Yan Songming had an innate hatred for cultivators with divine dragon bloodlines. When he saw them, he would feel an uncontrollable murderous intent in his heart. In reality, the Flood Dragon humans had an inextinguishable hatred for the dragon race. Back then, the Flood Dragon humans could not stand the pressure of the six-colored divine dragons, and followed the Black Dragon King to the abyssal underworld. Now they lived at the bottom of the abyssal underworld, even more miserable than they had been in the Divine Dragon Empire. Naturally, the Flood Dragon humans placed all this hatred on the cultivators with divine dragon bloodlines. I'll block them. You all split up. Xiao Chen sent a voice projection to Murong Yen and the others. Then he activated his divine dragon war body, and his body instantly swelled up. His bones crackled like thunder. Xiao Chen's dragon might immediately strengthen several-fold. What was even more shocking was that Xiao Chen's dragon might completely merged with his physical body, not leaking out at all. This blocked Yan Songming, preventing him from continuing forward. Xiao Chen, I'll leave these people to you. We'll go first. When Zhongli and Qin Outyin saw the situation, they rejoiced in their hearts. Then they laughed loudly and turned to leave, not lingering at all. Chapter 1961. Before Morong Yen and the others could decide, the instigators, Zhongli and Qin Outyin, quickly fled. They had no intention of staying to help. Perhaps they knew how horrifying Yan Songming and Zhenyuan were, and felt that they could not defeat them, so they used Xiao Chen and the others as shields. Do you think you can leave? Martial artists with divine dragon bloodlines are indeed as shameless as ever. Today I will kill all of you. Yan Songming snorted coldly. Without even looking at Xiao Chen, he turned around and directly grabbed at Zhongli. Xiao Chen did not move, as Zhenyuan's saber intent had already locked onto him. There was no room for change in the confrontation of Qi. Touch of death. As Yan Songming waved his hand, countless strands of black energy moved towards Zhongli like dragon whiskers. Zhongli's expression sank. Black tentacles surrounded him from all directions. There was no way he could escape. Rushing cloud hand. With a furious roar, Zhongli's hands moved rapidly. Layers of clouds surrounded him as he thrust his palms forward. The clouds changed constantly, forming all sorts of mysterious phenomena that charged out in all directions with great might. However, once the clouds got close to the black tentacles, the mysterious phenomenon formed by the thousands of clouds corroded, rendering it useless. Thousand cloud flower rain. Falling water turns to ice. Zhongli's expression changed slightly, and his hands moved as he attacked again. The mysterious phenomenon of thousands of clouds turned to ice. Cold qi spread everywhere, sealing the black tentacles in ice. He blocked it. Zhongli showed joy on his face. However, before his smile faded, he saw Yin Sungming reach out and grab. Kacha. The layer of ice shattered, and thousands of black tentacles gathered into a tentacle containing the mysteries of the Death Tao. Then it grabbed at Zhongli. Everywhere the black tentacle passed, all life was lost, and everything was silent. It was extremely terrifying. It's over. A trace of despair involuntarily surged in Zhongli's heart. If he was grabbed by this palm, he would lose most of his vitality. Even if he did not die, he would be crippled. The falling leaves filled the sky like rain. Shwa. Leaves fell from the sky as the wind blew. They were sparse, like the sound of falling rain. A flash of saber light with strong life force and humanity appeared. It streaked across the sky and cut off the black tentacle. Lu Rian pushed off the ground and moved gently, shielding Zhongli. Let's go. I'll cover you. Thank you, senior sister. Zhongli was still in a state of shock. He felt a trace of shame in his heart, but a trace of determination flashed in his eyes as he turned around and left. Xiao. Yin Sungming hovered in the air. Then he stretched out his hand and made a grabbing motion. The shattered black tentacles returned to his body. His entire body was suffused with a black aura of death. The aura wriggled like tentacles, looking exceptionally terrifying. What a pure white dragon bloodline. Your identity is definitely not simple. Yen Sungming looked at Lu Ruyun, and his eyes lit up. He said seriously, perhaps there might be some value in changing my mind. When Xiaochen noticed this scene, his heart skipped a beat. He said, protect Lu Ruyun. Xiaochen had seen this Yen Sungming make a move before. Yen Sungming's strength was extremely terrifying, far beyond that of an ordinary holy venerate. This person's resentment and killing intent were the most horrifying that Xiaochen had ever seen in his life. So. Morong Yen and the others quickly rushed over, and arrived before Lu Ruyun. At the same time, the other flood dragon humans moved as well, arriving behind Yen Sungming. I alone am enough. You all go and chase after those small fries that fled. Yen Sungming said indifferently. His tone filled with strong confidence. Yes, young master. The other flood dragon humans immediately scattered, leaving only Yen Sungming. A wind blew. The flood dragon humans shattered. Zhen Yuan appeared where Xiaochen stood. As he looked at Xiaochen, who had already retreated far away, Zhen Yuan asked seriously, are you not going to draw your saber? Zhen Yuan's face hurt somewhat. He had already dodged very quickly earlier. However, due to his distraction, the saber chi broke his defense and injured his face. Xiaochen stretched out his hand and prodded his wound. Then he looked at the blood on his hand before looking at Zhen Yuan. When a saber is drawn, it will definitely see blood. I promised your master to spare your life. Haha, that old fellow is really concerned about me. Since that is the case, why did you not send me to the 4 great monasteries earlier? This old man has had enough of that tiny place. Zhen Yuan revealed a mocking smile as a crazed look appeared in his eyes. Since that is the case, then die. You can forget about drawing your saber for the rest of your life. Mahamaya Abstinence Violation Saber. Breaking the mundane. A black saber light burst out of Zhen Yuan's body, and a black swastika appeared on his forehead. Scriptures appeared in the surroundings. All sorts of illusions appeared in Xiaochen's mind, all of which were tragedies of the mortal world. The flames of war raged on. Corpses piled up. Cries of starving people filled the land. Crows ate humans. Emaciated people appeared everywhere, starving and cold, their clothes barely covering their bodies. Zhen Yuan used the most decisive method, a method that was completely different from Xiaochen's, to break the mundane world. Zhen Yuan comprehended the mysteries of the first move of the Mahamaya Abstinence Violation Saber. However, in Zhen Yuan's hand, it became an incredibly horrifying demonic saber. In the next moment, all sorts of illusions, crows eating corpses, and passers-by lying on the roadside, waiting to die, all showed their ferocious sides. Zhen Yuan's sharp gaze focused on Xiaochen. Then it turned into a saber light and charged at Xiaochen. The entire world turned into Zhen Yuan's saber light. Break. Xiaochen did not think too much. He materialized the divine dragon war body and punched 100 times in all directions. Bang! 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 Vital chi surged, and dragon roars rang out. The illusions instantly broke, and Zhen Yuan took advantage of the opportunity to charge over. This is for not drawing your saber. Zhen Yuan did not show mercy after gaining the upper hand. He quickly launched all sorts of sharp attacks, turning them into a complete saber move, putting immense pressure on Xiaochen. In the blink of an eye, the two exchanged more than 100 moves. Xiaochen was forced back several steps, allowing Zhen Yuan's aura to reach its peak. Azura Hell Chop. When Zhen Yuan's aura reached its peak, he did not hesitate to chop with his saber. The saber move that Zhen Yuan set up completely erupted at this moment, revealing his ferocious and terrifying side. It turned into Azura Hell, concentrated in this saber strike. This was the opportunity that Zhen Yuan had been waiting for. Buddhist Sect's 7-kill seal. Xiaochen roared ferociously and executed the Buddhist Sect's 7-kill seal in the time it took for a spark to fly. His killing chi expanded 7-fold. Supreme Dragon Fist, raging at the unfair heaven. Zhen Yuan's surging killing chi turned into rage, shaking the sky and making it pale. When Zhen Yuan punched, killing chi surged out endlessly like a gushing river. Before the fist light arrived, the terrifying killing chi turned into a sharp dragon image and tore that Azura Hell into pieces. When the fist light arrived, the 7-fold killing chi suddenly erupted, and the Azura Hell instantly crumbled. Zhen Yuan vomited a mouthful of blood as he got knocked back. Shock appeared in his eyes. Unexpectedly, his peak killing move could not defeat Xiaochen. Supreme Dragon Fist, Heaven Dragon regrets. While you are down, I'll take your life. Xiaochen did not hold back. He leaped into the air. His killing chi erupted as he punched again. The boundless killing chi gathered into a lofty aspiration, like a regretless heaven dragon. It carried an aura of despair and self-sacrifice, pressing forward with no regrets. The strong dragon might cause the nearby ancient city to tremble. Many buildings collapsed. When Yen Songming, who was fighting 1 against 4, sensed the scene, he sent out a palm strike to block Lu Ruyun and the others. Yen Songming charged over to Xiaochen in a flash. The mysteries of death chi all over his body surged as he sent a palm strike to clash with Xiaochen's sure-kill fist light. Bang! The fist and palm clashed and the shock waves spread out. The others all moved back, afraid of getting caught up in the shock waves. Cracks appeared on the ancient street. A certain formation that was originally supporting the ground looked like it would break at any moment. Xiaochen took a few steps back and thought to himself, what a pity. This punch did not land on Zhen Yuan. It would be difficult to subdue him. Zhen Yuan had refined the demonic chi that the Black Dragon King had accumulated for many years. His physical body had already fallen into the demonic Tao, and his recovery ability was startling. Indeed, the demonic chi on Zhen Yuan's body surged. His injuries healed at a visible rate. A brilliant light flickered in Zhen Yuan's eyes, and the demonic chi on his body surged. Yen Songming looked at Xiaochen, and a look of praise flashed in his eyes. Supreme Dragon Fist. To think that you actually managed to practice the Supreme Dragon Fist. This is truly shocking. However, I know this fist technique as well. Supreme Dragon Fist, Master of the World. Right after Yen Songming spoke, he suddenly punched. Black dragon chi spread out from his body, and his veritable essence energy burned, materializing a war banner burning with black flames. When Yen Songming punched, the war banner carried a boundless tyrannical aura that commanded the surroundings as it shot towards Xiaochen. This startled Xiaochen. Clearly, he had not expected Yen Songming to practice this forbidden technique that only the Heaven Dragon Palace had. However, the situation before Xiaochen did not allow him to think too much. He was very clear on how strong this punch was. As Xiaochen circulated his energy for the Supreme Dragon Fist, he punched and materialized a blazing war banner as well. Then he punched. Bang! One side infused the mysteries of the Death Tao into the Supreme Dragon Fist, and the other infused the mysteries of the Massacre Tao into the Supreme Dragon Fist. The strong clashed, and the two war banners crashed into each other in the air. A horrifying dragon roar shook the surroundings. The two war banners shattered at the same time, and a startling force exploded where they stood. The two war banners turned into a horrifying pillar of energy soaring into the clouds. In the next moment, the ground cracked open. A black hole appeared, and everyone fell into it uncontrollably. After everyone fell, a strong suction came from the hole, making it even more difficult for those who struggled to get out. They could not resist this mysterious suction at all. Chapter 1962. Inside the mysterious cave, Xiaochen and Yan Songming did not give up on fighting. As the two descended, they continued to search for opportunities to severely injure each other. The two executed the Supreme Dragon Fist, exchanging moves in the average-sized cave, fighting intensely. The Heaven Dragon's Dragon Might and the Death Dragon Might clashed, neither giving way. Dragon roars rang out. Xiaochen showed a grave expression, feeling shocked. To think that someone could rearrange the Supreme Dragon Fist like him. In reality, if the other party used resentment to practice the Supreme Dragon Fist, it would be even more mighty. However, like Xiaochen, Yan Songming saw the flaws of the Supreme Dragon Fist and switched to the Death Dao to drive the Supreme Dragon Fist. The other party's comprehension of the Death Dao was much stronger than Xiaochen's Massacre Dao. Xiaochen's killing qi had been tempered in the Great Thousand Realms for many years. Although it was vast and dense, it barely advanced to the level of will. Xiaochen was still a long time away from truly comprehending the Massacre Dao. In reality, few of the thousands of cultivators, even divine vein sovereign emperors, could comprehend such a great Dao that surpassed attributes. The process was painful, arduous, and long. However, once one comprehended it, one's strength would be extremely horrifying. Within the same cultivation realm, one would be unrivaled. The Yan Songming before Xiaochen was such an existence. To think that he comprehended the Death Dao. If not for Xiaochen using the 7-kill seal to drive his killing qi, Yan Songming's Supreme Dragon Fist would not be able to hold his own. However, Xiaochen did not know that Yan Songming was even more shocked than he was. The other party should not have come into contact with the Supreme Dragon Fist for long. However, the comprehension ability that he showed was already no weaker than Yan Songming's. How did you cultivate the Heaven Dragon Forbidden Art? Xiaochen asked as he looked at the other party. Compared to the other party's horrifying strength, this question was even more serious. Yan Songming retorted coldly, "When I came into contact with the Supreme Dragon Fist, you had not even grasped it yet." Boom. The two exchanged moves again, and the effects of the 7-kill seal on Xiaochen slowly weakened. In the clash of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Yan Songming slowly fell into a disadvantage, losing his aura. "This is not enough for you to be arrogant in front of me." Yan Songming grabbed hold of this opportunity to deal a fatal blow to Xiaochen before he landed. However, Xiaochen suddenly discovered that Xiaochen's aura had become erratic. Xiaochen had clearly locked onto the other party, but Xiaochen was unfathomable, like a fish in water. Bang! Xiaochen punched out, only to find that he missed. The terrifying might of the fist exploded, but it did not hurt Xiaochen at all. Heaven Dragon Profundity. You actually comprehended the Heaven Dragon Profundity. This greatly startled Yan Songming. Theoretically, a flood dragon human could become a heaven dragon. Yan Songming had studied the Heaven Dragon's mysteries for many years. Even though he could comprehend the Death Dao, he could not make any headway. Not only that, Xiaochen snorted coldly in the darkness. The substantial Heaven Dragon's mysteries merged with the Supreme Dragon Fist's final move. When Yan Songming sensed Xiaochen's aura, he recognized this move. It was the Supreme Dragon Fist's final move, "Only I am supreme." Without even thinking, Yan Songming used his strong Death Dao's mysteries and his mental cultivation technique, which he was far more familiar with than Xiaochen's, to launch this punch first. Supreme Dragon Fist, "Only I am supreme." When Yan Songming punched, an unparalleled tyranny burst out from his body. That was the intense confidence of being the only one in the entire world, everywhere, and everywhere. What was a supreme? Until the end of time, a supreme would not age. Even after a long time, a supreme would not die. This heart would not die. These words would not be regretted. This body would not die. At first, Xiaochen's fist move was the same as Yan Songming's. However, later on, it gained an even more distant state. Supreme Dragon Fist, "Only I am supreme." Although it was only an embryonic form and not complete, when Xiao Chen merged the Heaven Dragon's mysteries with it, Xiao Chen's punch became well prepared. In that instant, Yin Songming's might drowned out Yin Songming's. The instant the two fists clashed, Yin Songming's aura shattered. He vomited a large mouthful of blood as he went flying. Why? They were both using the Supreme Dragon Fist's final move. Even if Yin Songming grasped the Heaven Dragon's mysteries, the other party's 7-kill seal was no longer effective. Yin Songming should be slightly stronger. However, why did the might of Xiao Chen's only I Am Supreme completely drown out Yin Songming's? They were not on the same level at all. Yin Songming, who flew back in pain, felt very confused. However, before he could think too much, Yin Songming, who had been severely injured by the punch, lost control of his body and fell down. Withdraw. Xiao Chen opened his fists and retracted the scattered dragon might, negating the might of Yin Songming's punch. There was no one else in the darkness. Silence reigned. Yin Songming had been defeated. However, he could not continue his pursuit in this mysterious cave. Caught off guard, the others had already fallen somewhere. Only the two of them could control their falling speed. Now that Yin Songming was defeated, only Xiao Chen remained, able to control his body somewhat. This cave in the depths appeared rather abruptly. This was worth thinking about. Why would such a cave appear near the center of the city? Xiao Chen calmed his mind and entered deep thought. Then he opened his heavenly eye and did his best to see his surroundings. However, the situation was only a little worse. He could only see some blurry light in the darkness. There were also flickering spots of light on the walls. Wait, there seems to be some pattern to these spots of light. Are they talisman scripts or ancient characters? Xiao Chen did his best to control his body. Then he arrived before the wall. As he descended, he imprinted the flickering characters into the depths of his mind. He compared them with the memories that the blood-soaked dragon emperor left behind, hoping to gain something. These are divine characters. Xiao Chen finally confirmed that these were divine characters, the characters that the heavenly realm's martial gods used back then. Compared to ordinary characters, divine characters contained the energy of the divine Tao. After they were written, they naturally contained laws and supreme truths. Xiao Chen felt like this was a record of some cultivation technique. Unfortunately, whenever he tried to recall it, the divine characters imprinted in his mind would quickly slip away. After that, he had no recollection of them. Just at this moment, Xiao Chen felt something under his feet, and he landed. The huge impact nearly sent Xiao Chen tumbling down. Fortunately, Xiao Chen had been doing his best to control his body. Although the impact was strong, it was still within his control. After stabilizing his footing, Xiao Chen controlled his body and walked forward step by step. After opening his heavenly eye, he could see divine characters that others could not. Xiao Chen was strangely obsessed with these divine characters. Although he could not truly remember them, Xiao Chen found them very wondrous as he walked along the flickering divine characters on the walls. My soul energy? Suddenly, Xiao Chen was shocked to discover that the originally faint sun and moon shining together in his soul pool actually glowed. A bright moon and a blazing sun competed for brilliance. Although the light was not dazzling, it flickered, giving this mysterious phenomenon its original form. Originally, Xiao Chen's soul energy had to advance by at least 5 or 6 layers to reach this level. However, just by observing these divine characters, he managed to achieve such an effect. This helped Xiao Chen save a lot of time. Interesting. If I continue to observe these divine characters, will I be able to bring out the sun and moon shining together mysterious phenomenon in the end? Xiao Chen thought joyfully. Originally, he had only just advanced to the Holy Venerate realm. His soul energy had been extremely weak. After all, he had not cultivated any soul energy secret manuals. Previously, he had only been a star venerate. His usage of soul energy had been very crude. Wanting to bring out the sun and moon shining together mysterious phenomenon without reaching the sovereign personage realm was like a fool's dream. Those outstanding talents of rank 7 sects had been nurtured from a young age, and received pointers from experts. That was why they could bring out mysterious phenomena at the Holy Venerate realm. However, along the way, Xiaochen had relied on himself to fumble about, unyielding perseverance to achieve this. Xiaochen, who came from the abandoned land, was much weaker than many people in the Great Thousand Realms. With this anticipation, Xiaochen immersed his consciousness into the divine characters, following the traces left by the divine characters as he chased after them. He did not notice that the space he was in had already turned blurry without him realizing it. Whoosh! Morong Yen was the first to come out of the cave. Soon after, Lu Ruyun, Wei Hongfei, and the others came out one after another. How piercing! The first reaction of these people, who suddenly came out of the darkness, was to close their eyes involuntarily. When these people got used to the light, they were horrified to discover that they were under a pink screen of light. There was a mirror made of light under their feet. They could not see the exit at all. Where's Xiaochen? Lu Ruyun suddenly thought of this question and asked the others, appearing somewhat flustered. I don't know. He and that flood dragon human should have fallen in first. Logically speaking, they should have arrived earlier than us. Did you not see him? I was following behind you. I thought that Xiaochen came out long ago. Just as the group felt confused, Sita Chongfeng said. At that time, I felt that Xiaochen and that flood dragon human continued fighting after they fell in. Since that flood dragon human Yen Songming has not come out yet, Xiaochen should not have come out so early, either. Upon hearing this, Lu Ruyun and the others relaxed slightly. Soon Yen Songming and Jin Yuan appeared together. However, there was still no sign of Xiaochen. Damn it! What did the two of you do to Xiaochen? Why is he not out yet? Lu Ruyun shouted when she saw the situation. This startled Yen Songming. He thought to himself, shouldn't this fellow have come out long ago? However, Yen Songming remained expressionless, not showing any fluctuations. He smiled coldly and said, Why are you so concerned about that fellow? You are a noble white dragon. Did you fall in love with a mixed blood dragon? He already died at my hands. You can rest easy now. You. Lu Ruyun and the others immediately became enraged. They prepared to activate their great desolate Ian bloodlines and fight to the death with Yen Songming. Upon seeing this scene, Zhen Yuan frowned slightly. These people activating their great desolate Ian bloodlines was problematic. He said coldly, Xiaochen is not dead. We do not know where he is either. Before you make a move, look at your surroundings first. Everyone is looking at us like fools. Chapter 1963. Xiaochen followed the flickering divine characters on the walls and walked all the way. When he startled awake, he discovered that he was in a strange world. Where am I? Where are Lu Ruyun, Morong Yen, and the others? Xiaochen felt suspicious. He felt that there was only one path in the cave, and he had walked for a long time. After walking for so long, even if Xiaochen was at the very back, he should have met someone else or left the cave he came from. Or perhaps Morong Yen and the others had already arrived here before him. However, after looking around the place, he didn't find anyone else. The strangest thing was that Xiaochen discovered that the path he came from had been cut off. It looked like he had arrived in this strange space for some reason. This place was filled with pink crystal walls that flickered with a dazzling luster. Xiaochen did his best to recall. Unfortunately, he had been immersed in the divine characters earlier, and had no recollection of them at all. Of course, the divine characters that captivated him had all slipped away. He could not remember a single one of them. The only thing that proved their existence was that Xiaochen's soul energy had increased significantly. The mysterious phenomenon of the sun and moon shining together in Xiaochen's soul pool had become increasingly distinct. The silhouettes of the sun and the moon appeared clearly. Not only did they flicker with light, but they also shed a faint radiance on the ground. Xiaochen entered deep thought. With a thought, he sent out his holy venerate will. Boom! In that instant, the mysterious phenomenon of the sun and moon shining together appeared in Xiaochen's soul pool. The bright moon and the blazing sun appeared at the same time. The entire space and the surrounding crystal walls reflected off each other, looking very beautiful. Xiaochen revealed joy on his face. I succeeded. The increase in Xiaochen's soul energy allowed him to finally bring out the mysterious phenomenon of the sun and moon shining together. In the future, even if he faced a sovereign personage's will of soul, he would be able to hold his own. Xiaochen would no longer be in a predicament like when he was a star venerate, feeling a headache every time he faced a holy venerate's will of soul. After withdrawing the mysterious phenomenon, Xiaochen frowned slightly. Returning to reality, where exactly am I? After searching for a while, Xiaochen's expression slowly turned grave. There was no exit. The entire space was like a maze, crisscrossing and confusing. There were crystal walls all around him that emitted pink radiance. They were filled with an energy he couldn't understand. That energy was unfamiliar and powerful, causing people to feel reverence. It was somewhat similar to the divine text, but this was tangible energy. Xiaochen knew very well that he did not absorb it. Bang! Bang! Punch after punch landed on the crystal wall. Xiaochen's hands hurt a little, but the crystal wall didn't move an inch. It was as if it had existed for eternity and would never change. Was he going to be trapped here for the rest of his life? Since he could get in, he could definitely get out. Xiaochen calmed himself down and began to search for the divine characters that had drawn him in. The light of the crystal wall covered the light of the divine characters. Xiaochen's eyes were dazzled, but he still didn't discover anything. He had to think of a way to make the divine text appear. With a thought, Xiaochen said softly, "Demonic cloud heaven swallowing art." Within his 9-star primal core, the demonic cloud heaven swallowing art slowly circulated, and strands of black demonic chi emanated from his body. The demonic chi thickened and stuck to the walls, covering up the light of the crystal walls. The originally flickering space turned pitch black. Xiaochen circulated his energy and nimbly controlled these demonic clouds, making them thinner. With Xiaochen's continuous effort, flickering divine characters finally appeared on the crystal wall. In this dark environment, these flickering divine characters gave off a faint light, appearing exceptionally eye-catching. Xiaochen activated the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor's memories to see if he could dig out more information about the divine characters. The blood-soaked Dragon Emperor was only one step away from becoming a true martial god. Although Xiaochen could not write divine characters, he could still recognize them in the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor's memories. Xiaochen knew that the original deities of the heavenly realm had a complicated relationship with the peak factions of the Great Thousand Realms. In reality, in every war between the righteous factions and demonic factions, the true masterminds behind the scenes were these deities of the heavenly realm. Be it the righteous Tao or the demonic Tao, they all had the support of the heavenly realm's deities. However, the deities had not expected that the last great war between the righteous factions and demonic factions would involve a variable like the Black Dragon King, bringing the flames of war to the heavenly realm. The chaotic war between the deities resulted in the heavenly realm's destruction. From then on, the heavenly realm no longer existed in the Great Thousand Realms. However, when the deities of the heavenly realm still existed, the decrees they passed down were written in divine characters. The various major factions all had people who could read the divine characters and clearly understand the decrees of the heavenly realm's deities. Naturally, the Divine Dragon Empire had a backer in the heavenly realm back then. Those dragon races that advanced to martial god would definitely take care of their own races in the central Great Realm. As the ruler of the Divine Dragon Empire, the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor naturally could read the divine characters. After some hard work, Xiaochen finally obtained some simple techniques for reading the divine characters. However, these techniques were limited to letting Xiaochen understand the divine characters. They could not leave an impression in his mind. Divine characters were different from ordinary characters. The meaning of one divine character might require thousands of ordinary characters to describe. Xiaochen's eyes quickly scanned these divine characters, searching for a way to escape. Since Xiaochen came to this place because of the divine characters, the divine characters were definitely his only chance to escape. It was very possible that he had accidentally touched one of the characters while reading those divine characters, which resulted in him being sent here. Whoosh! Xiaochen's figure flashed, and he arrived before a divine character. After hesitating for a moment, he gently tapped on it. Perhaps he could use the same method to send himself out now. Boom! A huge force shot out, and Xiaochen vomited a mouthful of blood as he went flying. This divine character recorded a flame, containing the supreme principles of the Fire Tao. It was berserk and merciless, inflicting severe damage on Xiao Chen's physical body and soul. Xiao Chen did not complain. After he stood up, he continued to read these obscure and unfathomable divine characters. After trying many times, Xiao Chen felt like he was on the verge of death, killed by the energy in the divine characters. Xiao Chen thought about giving up. However, if he gave up, he might really be trapped here forever. Xiao Chen clenched his teeth, feeling mentally fatigued. Then he touched another divine character. If Xiao Chen understood this divine character correctly, it described big. There was no way to count on a beginner like Xiao Chen to understand the complete meaning of this divine character. It was already extremely difficult for him to comprehend a rough state. This divine character contained a state that Xiao Chen could only comprehend to big. Boom. After Xiao Chen touched the divine character, the entire crystal wall started to tremble slightly. The flickering divine characters vanished, hiding within the crystal wall. Xiao Chen did not know what happened. He withdrew the demonic clouds in the surroundings, and the space regained its brightness. That is, in the center of the crystal wall, Xiao Chen discovered a beam of light encasing a stone stele. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xiao Chen was certain that before he touched the divine character that represented big, this stone stele had not appeared. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. He quickly walked over and looked carefully. Then he muttered, "Divine Universe Stele." Just as Xiao Chen finally obtained an opportunity to leave this mysterious place, Murong Yan, Lu Ruyun, and the others found themselves in trouble. Murong Yan, Lu Ruyun, and the others found themselves in trouble. They followed Zhen Yuan's instructions and looked around. Then they all showed stunned expressions. At the moment, they were in a certain barrier, and beneath their feet was a pink mirror that was as bright as if it had been washed. Outside the barrier was a group of cultivators so shocked that their jaws nearly fell off. These people were the 4 rank 6 sects and the Heavenly Lodging Palace branch's upper echelon, and elite disciples exploring the center of the ancient city in search of the greatest fortuitous encounter, the divine crystal. Aside from these people, there were also many sovereign personages, loose cultivators in ancient desolate town who were confident in their strength. These loose cultivators cut their way through the pressure of the divine crystal, crossed many restrictions, and killed countless corpses. After paying a huge price and going through a lot of trouble, they finally arrived here. After that, they discovered to their frustration that the divine crystal was right before them. However, no matter how hard they tried, they could not break the barrier of the divine crystal. Even with the combined power of several soul tools, they could not shake this barrier at all. In the hands of a sovereign personage, a soul tool could bring out 50% of its might, perhaps even 100%. Compared to the might that Xiao Chen and the others could bring out with soul tools, it was on a completely different level. However, even under such circumstances, they still could not break the barrier. Looking at the divine crystal right in front of them, yet they couldn't get their hands on it. Anyone would go crazy. Just as they were about to despair, Murong Yan and the others appeared inside the barrier. How could they not be shocked? Damn it! Did I see it wrong? There are actually people in there? I did not see wrongly. I saw it too. How did this group of people appear? Quickly come over and tell us how to enter. Otherwise everyone will die. After the upper echelon of the 4 rank 6 sects recovered from their shock, they rejoiced and shouted. After the initial shock, Murong Yan and the others discovered that this group of people could not enter. So they ignored this group of frantic sovereign personages. Lu Ruyun looked at Yan Songming and demanded, "Where is Xiao Chen? If you do not give me an explanation today, I will not let you off." Yan Songming's and Zhen Yuan's gazes were already fixed on the sky. A pink crystal floated there quietly. This was the divine crystal that the group of people outside yearned for. This divine crystal gave off an awe-inspiring energy that they could not comprehend. A fanatical look flashed in Yan Songming's eyes for only an instant before he calmed down. Given Yan Songming's current cultivation, snatching this divine crystal would be pointless. Not only would he not be able to comprehend it, but it would also bring him a lot of trouble. Upon hearing Lu Ruyun's words, Yan Songming recovered his wits. He smiled and said, "I feel that you should not worry about Xiao Chen at this moment. You should worry more about yourself and the people around you. When Morong Yan and the others heard the meaning behind Yen Songming's words, their faces immediately sank. They stepped forward and shielded Lu Ruyun. Zhen Yuan, you don't mind helping me block the attacks of these people with their great desolate Ian bloodline, right? I am very interested in this young lady. Her value might surpass our imagination. Yen Songming had great insight. When his gaze fell on Lu Ruyun, a sinister look flashed in his eyes. As you wish. Zhen Yuan felt somewhat displeased. However, since Yen Songming insisted, he could only agree. Boom. In that instant, Zhen Yuan ignited the demonic nature that the Black Dragon King left in his body. His black hair immediately fluttered about, and his eyes flickered with a pitch-black light. His expression twisted, and his demonic might flourished. Chapter 1964. Yen Songming had sharp eyes. He determined that Lu Ruyun had an extraordinary background and was extremely valuable. Even if Morong Yan and the others activated their great desolate Ian bloodlines, the two of them would have to pay a heavy price. He still felt that it was worth a try. Zhen Yuan had been in the Central Great World for some time. He knew how terrifying the martial practitioners with the 8 overlord bloodlines were after they activated their great desolate Ian bloodlines. If he were to lower his guard, he might very well lose his life here. Without hesitation, Xiao Chen ignited the Black Dragon King's demonic nature that he had absorbed and refined. His body immediately erupted with a demonic might that rivaled that of a sovereign personage. However, this was because his cultivation was not high enough and his body could not withstand it. The Black Dragon King's demonic nature could display even more terrifying might. However, now it was already frightening enough. The moment the demonic might appeared, Morong Yan and the others trembled in fear. Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique, entering hell. Zhen Yuan drew his saber and shouted ferociously. A black saber light instantly materialized a horrifying scene of purgatory. Zhen Yuan turned into the Kasayapa Buddha in hell, exuding boundless demonic might. The demonic smoke materialized thousands of malicious spirits circling above Morong Yan and the others. They bared their fangs and claws, giving off ghostly cries and wolf howls. From time to time, the spiraling demons and monsters would transform into sharp saber chi. They rained down like a torrential storm, each and every one of them lethal. They carried fear and resentment, and very quickly, they messed up their formation. As expected of a Buddhist forbidden art. If you can learn the 7 kill seal, TSK, its power will be unimaginable. However, this move can actually be more perfect. I'll bring you to the real Azura Blood Sea to train some other day. Yen Songming silently spread out his Death Dao's mysteries. Black smoke lingered on his body, wriggling like tentacles. Zhen Yuan said in a deep voice, "End the battle quickly to avoid any accidents." As Yen Songming looked at the somewhat disheveled Morong Yan's group, he smiled casually. They are just a group of outer sect disciples. If they were the Dragon's Gate's inner sect disciples, it would be somewhat problematic. However, it was true that he had to end the battle quickly. Accidents were bound to happen. Death like wind. Huchi. With a wave of his hand, it was as if autumn had arrived in an instant, bringing with it gusts of autumn wind that were suffused with a bleak feeling. It arrived mercilessly, sweeping away all the fallen leaves in the world, bringing with it a sense of desolation and withering. The wind of autumn, the wind of death. This move was so brilliant that it made people gasp in amazement. He had actually merged the Death Upanishad into the wind invisibly. One would not be able to sense where the death force was hiding. While it appeared to be empty, it was actually like a shadow following one's body. What a terrifying young man, to have mastered the Tao of death to such a level. Outside the barrier, the sovereign personages of the various sects, who were shouting earlier, all showed grave expressions when they saw Yen Songming make a move. He is Yen Songming. So it is him, the strongest outstanding talent of the Flood Dragon humans. According to rumor, when he fought a sovereign personage, he managed to retreat unscathed. This group of Dragon Clan juniors are going to be unlucky. Against him, they would have to be at least at the level of the 7 sons of the Divine Dragon to be able to suppress him. However, this guy is truly terrifying. I've never heard of him comprehending the Tao of death before. This fellow holds a great grudge against the dragon race. The dragon race cultivators that run into him usually do not have a good ending. Some sovereign personages recognized this Yen Songming. It turned out that he was not a nameless person. We have to break this Azura purgatory first, or we'll all die. Situ Changfeng shouted and arrived at the front. When he saw the death wind, his expression turned grave. Then he attacked decisively. 1,000 cloud stacking cliffs. In an instant, a heavy cloud will emerge from his body, stacking layer upon layer like a cloud mountain. The wind follows the clouds. This young man is very decisive. He wants to attract the wind of death to himself, creating an opportunity for his companions. But can he withstand it? The eyes of many sovereign personages lit up as they figured out Situ Changfeng's intentions. Boom boom boom. Murong Yen and the others activated their great desolate Ian bloodlines one after another. Without hesitation, they each sent out a move at the Azura hell, trapping them. Amidst the horrifying dragon roars, several people attacked at the same time. The Azura purgatory immediately shook, looking like it would collapse soon. If I don't go to hell, who will? Just at this moment, Zhen Yuan shouted, and the demonic might on his body turned into a horrifying Buddhist might. A black swastika appeared under his feet. The full might of the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique, entering hell, was displayed. Block him. The expressions of Wei Hongfei and the others changed drastically. This was the greatest danger they had faced since they started cultivating. They all focused and did their best. Heaven-burning rage. Golden light cauldron. Falling leaves filling the sky, sounding like voices. Boom. The few attacked at the same time, clashing with the horrifying saber move that Zhen Yuan executed after he ignited the Black Dragon King's demonic nature. However, after Zhen Yuan ignited his demonic nature, he executed entering hell. This could not be viewed with common sense. This saber strike knocked Murong Yen, Lu Ruyun, and the others back one after another. Their auras plummeted, and blood leaked out of a corner of their lips as they fell to the ground. Zhen Yuan turned around and took 3 steps back before he stabilized himself. The demonic might on his body slowly receded. Bang! On the other side, Situ Changfeng, who was blocking Yen Songming's killing move alone, finally could no longer hold on. The 1,000 cloud stacking cliffs shattered, and the mysteries of death entered his body. Situ Changfeng's life force immediately drained away. His expression turned grave as he resisted the endless mysteries of death in his body with much difficulty. Whoosh! Come with me then. Yen Songming brushed past Situ Changfeng and charged at Lu Ruyun, preparing to send Situ Changfeng flying. However, something strange suddenly happened. A horrifying aura burst out of Lu Ruyun's body. Despite moving later, she arrived first and soared into the air. Yen Songming revealed an extremely horrified expression because of Lu Ruyun's aura. At this moment, it completely suppressed Yen Songming. His body even turned somewhat stiff, and fear welled up in his heart. Lu Ruyun blew away the death chi on Yen Songming's body with a palm strike. Then she instantly stabbed the saber with her right hand into Yen Songming's chest. A horrifying saber intent surged out. Even the injuries that Yen Songming suppressed when he fought with Xiao Chen erupted at the same time. At the crucial moment, Yen Songming landed a palm strike on Lu Ruyun, and quickly bounced back. Situ, are you alright? Lu Ruyun landed and looked at Situ Changfeng with guilt on her face. Had Situ Changfeng used the strand of aura that the White Dragon King left in his body earlier, Situ Changfeng would not be in such a predicament. If Lu Ruyun used this strand of aura, her father, the White Dragon King, would know that she had snuck out. The dragon race had extremely strong life force. The innate energy that their bloodline gave them made them different from other cultivators. They had strong recovery abilities and strong life force. When facing the corrosion of the Death Dao's mysteries, they should have strong resistance. However, this Yen Songming seemed to have modified his Death Dao, making it especially effective against dragon race cultivators. Situ Changfeng's current situation did not look optimistic. Damn it! You two bastards! The others struggled to get up. After checking Situ Changfeng's situation, they glared at the two. So that's how it is. I know who you are now. After Yen Songming fell to the ground, he executed a strange hand seal. Then the death qi on his body suddenly soared, forcefully suppressing his injuries. Yen Songming's gaze turned even more fervent as he looked at Lu Ruyun. It is not just him. All of you will not be able to escape death today. In your next life, don't be a dragon race cultivator. Yen Songming roared, and a terrifying demonic flame continuously appeared behind him. Even the smooth mirror under his feet looked down on it. Reversing the Death Dao's mysteries. He is really crazy. His talent is also startling. His comprehension of the Death Dao puts even the older generation demonic Dao experts to shame. When the many sovereign personages outside the barrier saw this scene, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Yen Songming's gaze locked on Lu Ruyun. Aside from her, everyone else was a dead person to him. Bang! Right at that moment, a strange change occurred. Cracks began to appear on the spirit formation barrier, and frightening power began to leak out non-stop. Just as everyone felt confused, the floating divine crystal in the air suddenly exploded. A white figure floated down from the sky. The divine crystal exploded. Furthermore, a person flew out of it. This person was Xiao Chun, who had found an opportunity to break free. Xiao Chun raised his eyebrows when he saw Yen Songming, who exuded a terrifying death Dao. Holy Venerate Will, Sun and Moon shining together. With a thought, Xiao Chun brought out his Holy Venerate Will. A bright moon and a blazing sun rose up at the same time. Moonlight and sunlight intertwined. As Xiao Chun slowly descended, he let his will of soul encase Lu Ruyun and the others. This immediately suppressed Yen Songming's Death Dao's mysteries, causing him to feel a huge resistance. Yen Songming's way forward immediately became restricted. Damn it! At the crucial moment, Xiao Chun suddenly appeared. This instantly drove Yen Songming, who had suppressed all his trump cards, crazy. The negative effects of reversing the Death Dao started to appear. Black demonic patterns appeared on Yen Songming's face, and pain appeared in his eyes. Yen Songming's Death Dao's might continuously weakened. Zhen Yuan shouted anxiously, Yen Songming, it's time to go. Damn it. A great opportunity is gone just like that. Xiao Chun can only let them off today. Whoosh. A murderous intent flashed in Xiao Chun's eyes. The tyrant's saber, which had not appeared for a long time, instantly appeared. Xiao Chun drew his saber. Before Yen Songming, who had just thought of retreating, could react, a cold saber light flashed. Then Yen Songming's head flew into the air. His head separated from his body, and blood spurted out. He's dead? Zhen Yuan, who had already taken a few steps back and waited for Yen Songming to retreat, was stunned when he saw this scene. Chapter 1965. The tyrant blade was unsheathed, sealing the marquis with blood. For some reason, Zhen Yuan suddenly recalled what Xiao Chun told him. It was not that Xiao Chun did not want to draw his saber, but that when he drew his saber, he needed to see blood. That saber. His gaze fell on Ba Dao, and his face instantly became solemn. Zhen Yuan had seen that saber before. However, now that he saw it again, he felt like he had been reborn. Tyrant blade. He was very clear about the origins of this saber. Back then, he had a great chance of obtaining this saber as well. Unfortunately, it still fell into Xiao Chun's hands by chance. At first, it was not particularly scary. However, now the feeling it gave Xiao Chun was one of fear. If Xiao Chun had used this saber back then, he would have died. He might be caught off guard and lose his life without any mental preparation. This was what happened to Yen Songming before Xiao Chun. He died a wrongful death. Despite being severely injured, he still managed to reverse the Tao of death. When he saw Xiao Chun, he hesitated for a moment and did not retreat on the spot. When the profound of death started to devour him, he wanted to retreat, but Xiao Chun didn't give him the chance. Clang. After sheathing his saber, Xiao Chun landed beside Situ Chongfeng and checked on his injuries. Xiao Chun frowned. What a horrifying death profound. The death energy in Situ Chongfeng's body was invisible and formless. However, it continuously tortured Situ Chongfeng, corroding his life force. He was like a bright flower slowly withering. If he wanted to treat Situ Chongfeng, he would have to find the mysteries of death in his body. Of the group, Duan Fei, who was the most skilled, had already tried but could not find a solution. He directly said that only the elders of the Green Dragon Palace had a solution. However, based on Situ Changfeng's current situation, he would not be able to last that long. Xiao Chun, is there any way to save him? Morong Yen asked sullenly, feeling extremely grave. He simply did not wish to see Situ Changfeng die. Xiao Chun pondered and nodded. Don't worry. I have a way to stabilize his injuries first. If anyone has any medicinal pills that can excavate the power of the bloodline, give them to Situ. With the toughness of the dragon race's bloodline, it can slightly slow down the loss of vitality. This was only to strengthen Situ Changfeng's life force foundation, so that his life force would not drain away so quickly. Xiao Chun treated the symptoms and not the root cause. However, as long as he could endure this period, Xiao Chun would have a way to temporarily suppress the power of death in Situ Changfeng's body, allowing him to last until he reached the Green Dragon Palace. Given the strength of the Green Dragon Palace elders, it would not be difficult to remove Situ Changfeng's death energy. I do. Me too. The few of them rushed to take out their treasured medicinal pills and handed them to Situ Changfeng. Xiao Chun, is there really a way? Lu Ruyun's eyes turned red. Her valiant face looked somewhat heart-wrenching. This time, the stimulation this child received was still a little too big. For Xiao Chun and the others, they had experienced the parting of life and death a long time ago. No matter how fierce the competition was within the sect, it would not result in death. However, once they left the sect, death was all too common. At every moment, there would be cultivators falling on their way to the peak. You can trust me. Xiao Chun looked seriously at Lu Ruyun. Lu Ruyun, who always trusted him, nodded, feeling somewhat relieved in her heart. Carrying Situ Changfeng on his back, Xiao Chun looked around. Cracks appeared in the barrier, looking like it would collapse at any moment. Thousands of divine crystal shards hovered in the sky, attracting the attention of the various cultivators. No one had expected Xiao Chun to come out of the divine crystal and kill Yan Sungming with one saber strike. All the more, no one had expected the divine crystal to explode, producing so many shards. Some people rejoiced, and some people raged. The people rejoiced because the divine crystal had shattered into so many shards. The loose cultivators would have a chance to fight for them. The people raged were the stronger ones. With the divine crystal exploding, the complete true God's mysteries would no longer exist. Even if all the divine crystal shards were pieced together, their value would be far from comparable to a complete divine crystal. Let's go. This place will turn chaotic soon. We should leave this troublesome place first. With the shattering of the barrier, blood would flow like a river because of the divine crystal shards. Boom. Indeed, someone quickly used a soul tool to shatter the barrier. Many sovereign personages soared into the sky, heading for the divine crystal shards in the air. Xiao Chun and the others had already retreated to the periphery. The moment the barrier shattered, they quickly left. However, the group did not notice that Yan Songming's headless corpse on the ground silently turned into a clump of black smoke. After the black smoke of death formed a formation, it infused into a divine crystal shard. The divine crystal instantly turned black. Amid the chaos, it flew toward Zhen Yuan. Zhen Yuan felt slightly stunned. He received the divine crystal shard, feeling confused. Then he revealed a confused expression. When Zhen Yuan saw a strange talisman seal in the divine crystal shard, he revealed an expression of understanding. I just knew that you would not die so easily. After putting away the divine crystal shard, Zhen Yuan carefully sized up the surroundings before leaving quickly. Brat, stop right there. On the other side, Xiao Chun ran into trouble. Someone had been targeting them for a long time. The moment the barrier shattered, a sovereign personage elder from the ruling sword gate was sent to block Xiao Chun. This was an initial perfection sovereign personage elder. His cultivation was about the same as Lu Yuanzong, whom Xiao Chun interacted with. However, this sovereign personage came from a large sect. He should be slightly stronger than Lu Yuanzong. When a sovereign personage blocked their path, Morong Yen and the others showed grave expressions. In the earlier battle, Morong Yen and the others had activated their great desolate Ian bloodlines, and could not put up a fight at all. Even if they did, it would not be of much use against a sovereign personage. It would not make much of a difference. You killed Qi Yinfeng, right? The old man said with a sullen expression as he looked at Xiao Chun. Clearly, there had to be a reason why this old man sought trouble for Xiao Chun while the other sovereign personages chased after the divine crystal shards. You speak too much nonsense. Xiao Chun knew that he could not resolve this peacefully. He did not overthink. The moment he appeared, the god shadow bow appeared in his hand. A spot of heart flame burned on Xiao Chun's fingertip and spread to the arrow. Then a simplified version of heart force merged with the arrow. Xiao Chun drew the bow and drew the bowstring. Veritable essence energy and soul energy continuously poured into the bow. When facing a sovereign personage, Xiao Chun showed no intention of holding back. Aside from activating his bloodline power, he brought out the god shadow bow's full might. A soul tool. Interesting. This old man looks forward to seeing how much might an insignificant holy venerate like you can bring out. The old man showed a calm expression as he smiled faintly. A trace of mockery flashed in his eyes. The old man was very clear on the strength of a soul tool and the requirements to use it. A holy venerate would not be able to bring out much of its might. Boom! However, as the vast might and pressure from the god shadow bow soared up, the sovereign personage old man gradually turned grave. Damn it! The old man cursed after clearly seeing the grade of that soul tool. Then he turned to leave. Without a doubt, even a sovereign personage would not dare to clash head-on with Xiao Chun using the god shadow bow at full power and the heart flame. However, by the time the old man flew over and blocked Xiao Chun, it was already too late. The god shadow arrow had never missed before. The instant Xiao Chun let go, a miserable shriek rang out. There was no way to dodge. After the arrow struck the old man, it did not lose any momentum, continuing forward ferociously, destroying countless buildings and carving out a path. Let's go. With the significant increase in Xiao Chun's soul energy, he still had some strength left over after executing the god shadow bow at full power. It was no longer like before, where he would run out of energy after executing the god shadow bow once more. Then, Xiao Chun carried Situ Changfeng on his back, and quickly led the others away. Right now was far from the time when the danger was over. Xiao Chun, thank you. Situ Changfeng, who was on Xiao Chun's back, was in a daze. His mind was somewhat unclear, sometimes awake and sometimes asleep. At this moment, Situ Changfeng endured the dizziness and the loss of life force before he finally managed to say a complete sentence. Xiao Chun understood Situ Changfeng's state the best. The death energy suppressed his life force. He could only watch helplessly as his life force drained away. Even in such pain, Situ Changfeng still had to thank Situ Changfeng. This made Xiao Chun feel somewhat uncomfortable. He replied softly, Situ, don't speak. Conserve your strength. On Xiao Chun's back, Situ Changfeng said in a somewhat daze, I can't. I have to say it. Otherwise, I won't have a chance to say it. That would be too regretful. Murong Yen felt a lump in his throat, and tears indeed flowed out. As he cried, he thought, stop talking. Xiao Chun said that he can save you, so he definitely can. Murong Yen thought of many things. He had known Situ Changfeng for much longer than Xiao Chun. Many times, Situ Changfeng would step forward without hesitation. Murong Yen thought of demonic venerate Mu Yin in Violent Flame Desert. Situ Changfeng had saved his life when he was in danger. Now, if not for Situ Changfeng blocking Yen Sangming's death like wind, all of them would have died. They would not have lasted until Xiao Chun appeared. Situ Changfeng was always so kind. Most of the time, Murong Yen was heartless and did not overthink. He did not even say a word of thanks. Situ Changfeng's words were unbearable for Murong Yen. He should be the one thanking Situ Changfeng. Wei Hongfei and the others showed unsightly expressions as well. Their eyes even turned somewhat moist. Xiao Chun showed a grave expression when he felt the weight on his back. It was not because Situ Changfeng was really heavy. Instead, it was because he felt his responsibility. He felt everyone's anticipation of him saving Situ Changfeng's life. Xiao Chun killed Yen Sangming with one saber strike and knocked back a sovereign personage with one arrow. To others, these actions looked casual. However, who knew how much effort, soul energy, and veritable essence energy Xiao Chun put into them? Xiaochen did not say anything. He silently carried Situ Changfeng on his back as he killed the guards along the way. After making one round, Xiaochen returned to the place where he fought with Yan Sangming. He wanted to go to the southern city, to the herb garden in the southern city. Whether Situ Changfeng could survive or not depended on Xiaochen. Kill. As Xiaochen faced the guards blocking his way, he did not hold back on his veritable essence energy and soul energy, which he did not have much in the first place. It looked like hope was right before him. Xiaochen's eyelids twitched slightly. When he looked up, he saw a white-clad monk and a mysterious person shrouded in a scarlet shadow standing on the roof in front. Ming Xian, Xiaochen said through clenched teeth as he stopped walking. He had not expected to run into this person at this moment. Chapter 1966. Black Lotus Church's holy son Ming Xian. He had actually appeared at a time that Xiaochen would never have expected, and in a place that he would never want to see him. This caused his heart to sink for some reason. Who is this person? Upon seeing the holy son Ming Xian and the mysterious person shrouded in blood, Murong Yan and the others were stunned, feeling somewhat worried. Based on the auras that the two gave off, it was clear that they were not ordinary holy venerates. Xiaochen looked at Ming Xian and said, Ming Xian, I had a chance to kill you before your master died. However, I spared your life. Now can you return this favor? I'll stay and let my friend leave. The current situation was not suitable to fight with someone like Ming Xian. In his life, Xiaochen rarely gave in. Even if he was weaker than the other party, he would never beg the other party to let him go. As for those of the same generation, there was no such thing. Xiaochen was alone. At most, he would die. At worst, the result would be nothing more than that. He was not too afraid. But now, it concerned Situ's life and death. Xiaochen still wanted to fight for it. Of course I can agree. The holy son Ming Xian had a calm expression as he spoke softly with a smile. Just based on his expression, it was hard to imagine that he had a deep grudge with Xiaochen. But I won't agree. The mysterious person shrouded in a bloody shadow beside him said in a hoarse voice. Based on the holy son Ming Xian's expression, it was like he knew that the other party would say that. He shrugged and said, Sorry, I can only represent myself. I already repaid your favor. Please don't say such things in the future. Upon hearing this, Xiaochen could not help feeling enraged. This Ming Xian was simply toying with him. He had no sincerity at all. He had never thought of letting the people around Xiaochen go. I can still shoot another arrow. However, the current holy son Ming Xian is somewhat unfathomable. It was unknown whether or not this arrow could kill the other party. What was even more difficult to deal with was that there was another person beside Ming Xian. That person's aura was even more terrifying than Ming Xian's. Don't worry. A person's death is like an extinguished lamp. Everything becomes empty. What worries will there be? From the center of the ancient city, he chased after them in secret until now. Ming Xian would definitely not give up on such an excellent opportunity to kill Xiaochen. He would not have such a good opportunity the next time they met. How could Ming Xian give up? Xiaochen had never been afraid of fighting, but at this moment, he really yearned for a way to solve the problem in front of him without fighting. When Ming Xian saw the unresigned expression in Xiaochen's eyes, he smiled and said, Still not giving up. Do you think that someone will come and help you? Accept your fate. Caw. Just at that moment, a piercing bird cry suddenly rang out from the horizon. It carried a sliver of arrogance as it resounded through the heavens recklessly. Xiaochen was very familiar with this voice. It was the demon blood vulture. Xiaochen's heart skipped a beat. He looked up and saw that in the sky, the demon blood vulture spread its wings and soared high into the sky. It did not know what fortuitous encounter it had, but flames covered its entire body, making it look like a blood phoenix filled with divinity. Xiaochen, that stupid bird of yours is here. Murong Yan rejoiced when he saw the demon blood vulture turn into a flaming cloud, covering the sky and sun as it charged at Ming Xian. Without saying anything, the demon blood vulture, whose strength had increased explosively, moved like scarlet lightning. The smile on Ming Xian's face froze. Then he said sullenly, What the heck is that? Quickly scatter. The mysterious person shrouded in bloody shadows at the side said quickly when he sensed the extraordinariness of the demon blood vulture. However, the instant that voice rang out, the demon blood vulture crashed into where Ming Xian and the mysterious person shrouded in bloody shadows stood. A loud explosion rang out. Pillars of flame soared into the sky. The two did not have time to dodge at all. They were thrown into disarray, not knowing what was going on. The two appeared to be in a sorry state amid the flames. They did their best to charge out, but they appeared increasingly flustered. Let's go. With the demon blood vulture appearing to block these two, Xiaochen could relax. Carrying Situ Changfeng on his back, Xiaochen ran wildly, killing the damned servants in his way. For hours later, the herb garden they were in earlier reappeared before Xiaochen and the others. However, Situ Changfeng, who was on Xiaochen's back, was already fainting. The death qi had corroded away all the life force in his body. Situ Changfeng's body grew increasingly lighter. However, Xiaochen felt his footsteps getting heavier. Quick, 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 quick. The group returned to the herb garden in a fluster. Xiaochen quickly put Situ Changfeng down. Then he looked at the coiling dragon tree which had stopped growing. Without thinking, Xiaochen leaped down along the roots. Look after Situ Changfeng. Wait for me to come up. Xiaochen showed a grave expression as he descended along the roots. The medicinal spring was already close to drying up, having been absorbed by the coiling dragon tree. Xiaochen's descent was much faster than before. Right now, Xiaochen placed all his hopes on the great desolate 10,000 beast pill, the little bird that he left here with the life bestowal spell. He saw the scene of the coiling dragon tree successfully suppressing the pill demon. The surging demonic nature scattered, turning into filth and scattering everywhere. Right now, the great desolate 10,000 beast pill should have been washed clean of impurities, leaving only the essence. As long as Situ Changfeng consumed it, it would continuously consolidate his life force, strengthen his bloodline, and unearth an endless stream of life force. The vast medicinal energy of the great desolate 10,000 beast pill was more than enough for Xiaochen to rush to the Green Dragon Palace. Boom. Soon, Xiaochen arrived at the medicine cauldron. Even though the coiling dragon tree had already absorbed most of the flames, using them as nourishment, the coiling dragon tree still had not recovered. The flames in the medicine cauldron were still frighteningly powerful. Xiaochen used his true essence to protect his body. He didn't care about anything else as he ran through the fire. He searched for the great desolate 10,000 beast elixir in the raging fire. Alas, the space within the cauldron seemed to be a world of its own, vast and boundless. Flames filled the entire area. Where was the great desolate 10,000 beast pill? There was no way to find it. How could this be? Xiaochen felt very anxious. According to his understanding, a medicinal pill at the level of the great desolate 10,000 beast pill would not be able to withstand it. Even if most of the medicinal properties had been shaken off along with the demonic nature, it was still as dazzling as the stars. It should not be difficult to find. Where is the divine pill? In the depths of the blazing fire, Xiaochen calmed himself. There would definitely be no results if he searched blindly. Since it was a divine pill, no matter how weakened it was or how much the medicinal properties had been demonized, that strand of divine nature should still be there. I got it. Although the pill demon had been shaken off and its demonic nature eliminated, its divine nature and intelligence still remained. The pill demon knew that Xiaochen was looking for it, so it hid. If Xiaochen could not figure this out, he would never be able to find this great desolate 10,000 beast pill. I will only lend you 10% of the medicinal properties to save my friend's life. I will not destroy your intelligence or take away your divine might. Xiaochen shouted from within the medicine cauldron. He knew that the other party would definitely understand what he meant. However, the flames in the surroundings did not move or respond. Xiaochen tried to persuade Xiaochen with kind words, but the other party did not put on any pretense. Xiaochen could not help getting enraged. He said sullenly, "Since you do not dare to show yourself, it means that your divine nature is weak and cannot withstand a single blow. If you continue wasting time with me, even if it takes 10 years or 100 years, I will sweep away the flames in the sky and find your hiding place." Why are you still not coming out and offering up 10% of the medicinal properties? Boom, boom, boom. The ice snow divine flame in Xiaoqian's left hand, and the primal chaos heavenly flame in his right hand. One was yin, and the other was yang. No flame in the world could break free from these two attributes. Xiaoqian let go, letting the ice snow divine flame, and the primal chaos heavenly flame continuously absorb the flames in the medicine cauldron. Immediately, the flames in the medicine cauldron surged like waves, roaring continuously. Xiaoqian remained unmoved, showing a calm expression. After a while, a bright light suddenly flew over to him. It was a great desolate 10,000 beast pill containing heavy medicinal properties. However, it did not have any spirituality or divine might. The true great desolate 10,000 beast pill must have listened to Xiaoqian's suggestion and used 10% of its medicinal properties to refine it into a pill. Humph! Xiaoqian stopped absorbing the flames in the cauldron and snorted coldly, refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. He shouted, "If you waste my time, I will settle the score with you later." Whoosh! After obtaining the medicinal pill, Xiaoqian flew up on a cloud and arrived at the surface of the herb garden. When the others saw Xiaoqian, they were greatly startled and could not bear to look at him. Xiaoqian could not care less about his doubts. He took out the medicinal pill and handed it to Lu Ruyun. "Feed it to him." Lu Ruyun was stunned for a moment. Then, she received the medicinal pill and fed it to Situ Changfeng. Morongyan asked nervously, "Xiaoqian, will this medicinal pill be effective?" "It should be." Xiaoqian felt somewhat uncertain. After all, there was only 10% of the medicinal properties. He could not guarantee anything. Who knew? Right after the two spoke, the great desolate 10,000 beast pill took effect. A vigorous life force surged out of Situ Changfeng's body. His complexion recovered, and his lips turned red. This directly pulled him back from the gates of hell. Such a strong medicinal pill delighted the group. They were already in despair. To think that Xiaoqian could still pull Situ Changfeng back from the brink of death. "Xiaoqian, what medicinal pill is this?" Wei Hongfei sighed somewhat. "Why do I feel that the aura of his bloodline is becoming increasingly stronger? What exactly rank is this medicinal pill? Even the rank 6 heavenly pills that I once saw could not strengthen the bloodline so quickly." No matter what, Situ Changfeng managed to keep his life, even profiting from a disaster. As for what the medicinal pill was, naturally, Xiaoqian would not say. If the matter of the divine pill spread, it would result in huge trouble. The demonic Dao cultivators had a vicious method of refining human blood into a medicinal pill. This increased the risk for Situ Changfeng. Xiaoqian relaxed slightly. Then he sized up his surroundings, the pill river, the herb field, the coiling dragon tree, and that heaven-supporting medicine cauldron. In the past, there were no suitable treasures to collect. However, the divine universe steel that Xiaoqian obtained from the divine crystal seemed to be able to collect everything. Chapter 1967. After a lot of effort, the group arrived at the herb garden. Outside the ancient city, a person wearing robes with pictures of the 26 constellations used his soul energy to rush over from the distant heavenly lodging sect's headquarters. The blood sand that lingered in desolate God Valley all year round, and the harsh environment, did not seem to affect this person at all. It was like he was walking on a boundless plain, looking down on everything. All the storms, sand, and horrifying ferocious beasts did not exist before him. Or rather, they were not worth his attention at all. He simply ignored them like air. The terrifying blood sand storm scattered before this person. Before the horrifying ferocious beasts could show their ferocious side, the blood sand storm had already shattered into pieces. Not even a corpse remained. This person simply walked over, looking down on everything, feeling suffocatingly strong. No one knew where this person's destination was in the vast desolate God Valley. His eyes scanned the surroundings as if he was searching for something. From time to time, he would close his eyes to sense, and a trace of worry and hidden anger appeared between his brows. That hidden anger made everyone who had seen his strength not want to become his enemy. After confirming a direction, The old man quickly headed over. However, when he reached his destination, he found nothing. In this desolate God Valley, even someone as strong as this person experienced interference with his soul energy. After a few attempts, the old man continuously corrected his direction. His hidden rage reached its limit. Finally, a 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot hovering in the air appeared before the old man. Then the old man truly stopped moving. Boom! The old man threw a palm strike, and the 2-star heaven-suspending war chariot exploded in the air. The heaven-suspending war chariot was like a toy. The defensive formations that the Pirate Alliance put in so much effort to create were not worth mentioning before this person. The heaven-suspending war chariot exploded, and a figure fell. The old man's figure flashed and firmly caught this figure. Naturally, this person was Hua Qingyun, whom Xiao Chun and the others had been restraining. The old man casually removed the restrictions on Hua Qingyun and sent in a strand of astral energy. Hua Qingyun slowly woke up. When Hua Qingyun saw the old man's face, he exclaimed in pleasant surprise, "Grandfather." This old man was Hua Qingyun's grandfather, the Heavenly Lodging Palace's sovereign emperor, Hua Qin. When Hua Qin saw that Hua Qingyun was fine, he heaved a sigh of relief. Then he asked sullenly, "Who did this to you? They are truly audacious. They even dare to bully my Hua Qin's grandson. The people of this branch in ancient desolate town are all trash." The appearance of Xiao Chun and the others immediately appeared in Hua Qingyun's mind. He said, "It's a group of people from the Divine Dragon Empire. I only remember their appearances. I don't know who they are." "That's enough. Leave the rest to Grandpa. Whoever hurts my grandson, no matter who it is, must pay the price." The anger on Hua Qin's face seemed to be enough to make one's soul tremble. In the herb garden, Situ Changfeng recovered at a visible speed, and his complexion became better. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Situ Changfeng had profited from his misfortune. Not only had he recovered from his injuries, but his bloodline had also been strengthened. "Xiao Chen, what kind of medicinal pill does Situ eat? Give me one as well." When Morongyan saw that Situ Changfeng was fine, he relaxed and said with a smile, "Get another one?" It was estimated that the pill spirit would fight with him. There was not much medicinal power in the first place, and Xiao Chen seized 1/10 of it. If Morongyan took another 10th, the pill spirit would definitely go berserk and try to take him down with it. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. After all, the pill spirit had divine nature. Morongyan could not casually offend it. Xiao Chen smiled and ignored Morongyan's request. He looked up at the sky, wondering how the demon blood vulture was doing. In reality, Xiao Chen was not too worried about the demon blood vulture's life or death. The demon blood vulture was very crafty and strangely fast. Even if it could not defeat Ming Xian and that mysterious person, it would not have difficulty fleeing. Xiao Chen did not know what fortuitous encounter the demon blood vulture obtained, but it looked like a burning blood phoenix. Speaking of fortuitous encounters, Xiao Chen should be the one with the greatest fortuitous encounters in this ancient city. Xiao Chen did not fight for the shattered divine crystal fragments. However, he vaguely sensed that the divine universe steel he obtained was even more valuable than the complete divine crystal. The 4 directions were called the universe, and the ancient times were called the Aeon. The divine universe steel was a space-related miraculous item. However, Xiao Chen had not had the time to investigate its mysteries. As for its origins, Xiao Chen found only some clues and a few words in the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor's memories. It was mysterious and unfathomable. There was no real explanation for it. During the primal chaos epoch, before heaven and earth were separated and order was not born, the world was in primal chaos, giving birth to countless gods and demons. The primal chaos ended and shattered, giving birth to the great desolate continent. Legend had it that this divine universe steel was born when the primal chaos shattered. Aside from the divine universe steel, there was the even more mysterious divine Aeon steel. However, no one knew how many divine universe steels and divine Aeon steels were born at the same time, and whether there were other items born at the same time. Xiao Chen did not know how many mysteries the divine universe steel had. However, he could understand its simple function of storing things. The herb garden should be safe for now. Xiaochen searched for a quiet place in the surroundings. He took out the divine universe steel, wanting to refine it and merge it with his physical body. However, after trying for a while, Xiaochen was shocked to discover that he could not refine this divine item at all. Even leaving his own spiritual mark on it was extremely difficult. After thinking about it, Xiaochen felt that he needed divine energy to truly refine it. He had to settle for the next best thing, merging a strand of his will of soul with the divine universe steel to achieve simple control. This made Xiaochen feel somewhat weak. Without a spiritual mark and without refining it, he could not leave it. If someone snatched it away, it would easily become someone else's treasure. Simply put, even if someone snatched away the tyrant saber in his hand, he would not worry at all. Others would not be able to use it at all. They might not even be able to draw the saber out. Sooner or later, it would belong to Xiaochen. After a strand of his will of soul merged with the divine universe steel, Xiaochen's spiritual sense entered the divine universe steel's inner space with a whoosh. The inner space was vast and boundless, with primal chaos at the edges. Deep inside, Xiaochen felt very different from the immortal spirit ring. This was a real world. Can I enter with my physical body as well? Just as Xiaochen wondered this in his heart, he felt something solid under his feet after a moment of distraction. He actually really entered. Where's Xiaochen? The sudden disappearance of Xiaochen quickly attracted the attention of Murong Yan, Lu Ruyun, and the others, greatly startling them. When they rushed over, they saw a stone steel radiating a horrifying might and pressure hovering where Xiaochen cultivated. Divine universe steel. After the group read out the ancient words on the stone steel, they revealed doubtful expressions. They had never heard of such a stone steel before. Could it be that Xiaochen entered the stone steel? Murong Yan's guess startled him. If that was true, then this stone steel was rather heaven-defying. A spatial treasure that could store a living person definitely surpassed a soul tool. People had only heard of such a divine item, but few had actually seen it. As though to verify Murong Yan's guess, Xiaochen silently appeared before the group while holding the divine universe steel in one hand. Wei Hongfei exclaimed in shock. What is Xiaochen doing? Xiaochen smiled as he replied. This is the divine universe steel that I obtained after deciphering some divine characters in the divine crystal. Right now, I do not know how useful it is. The group felt shocked at Xiaochen's luck. After congratulating him, Wei Hongfei said with a grave expression, Xiaochen, don't casually reveal this treasure. I believe that even a sovereign emperor will want to kill it if they see it. Xiaochen nodded. Even if Wei Hongfei had not said so, he would not have dared to casually take it out. After all, he had not even left a spiritual mark on it. The divine universe steel did not belong to him yet. After separating the group, Xiaochen arrived before the Pill River and infused his soul energy into the divine universe steel. After a while, the entire Pill River soared up like a dragon, flying towards the divine universe steel. When the Pill River was completely absorbed into the divine universe steel, Xiaochen wobbled somewhat, and his complexion paled slightly. Many people had set their sights on this Pill River. However, at best, they could only collect some of it. It was not even a drop in the ocean. However, Xiaochen waved his hand, and the divine universe steel activated, storing the entire Pill River in it. Murong Yan and the others were flabbergasted at this sight, feeling incredibly shocked. After resting for a while, and recovering some of his soul energy, Xiaochen held the divine universe steel and stored the coiling dragon tree and the gargantuan medicine cauldron into it. Xiaochen nearly overdrew on his soul energy. If not for reading the divine characters strengthening his will of soul significantly, he would not have been able to collect the Pill River and the coiling dragon tree. Even with the divine universe steel, Xiaochen believed that he would not be able to collect the Pill River and the coiling dragon tree. This made Xiaochen realize that the divine universe steel was not omnipotent. When collecting treasures, it exhausted a startling amount of soul energy. As Lu Ruyun and the others looked at Xiaochen, they all felt somewhat afraid. Right now, Xiaochen's wealth was comparable to that of a sovereign personage. Even a sovereign personage would pale in comparison. There was a Pill River that could feed a rank 6 sect, a 7-colored coiling dragon tree, and a spatial divine item that could store a living person. Lu Ruyan suddenly recalled that when Xiao Chen obtained the coiling dragon tree sapling, he said that he would not hand it over to the dragon's gate to exchange for a reward. In that case, what was the point of keeping it for himself? A divine item like the coiling dragon tree could bring out its greatest value in the hands of a sect faction. It would benefit the sect disciples and quickly strengthen them, ensuring that the sect's inheritance would not be destroyed. To an individual, the only thing they could obtain from it was the coiling dragon fruit. At most, they could eat 4 or 5 of them, and there would not be much of an effect. Lu Ruyan thought for a while but could not figure it out, so she stopped thinking. She revealed a faint smile. She should be happy for Xiao Chen for having such a fortuitous encounter. Situ Changfeng is awake. Morong Yen discovered that Situ Changfeng had opened his eyes at some point in time, and stood up. Situ Changfeng stood up and looked at Xiao Chen with gratitude in his eyes. Situ Changfeng knew better than anyone else what kind of medicinal pill Xiao Chen gave him, and what kind of changes it would bring him. Situ Changfeng had not expected Xiao Chen to give away such a precious medicinal pill instead of consuming it himself. Xiao Chen nodded slightly. He could tell what Situ Changfeng meant by his eyes, telling him not to mind. Situ, sorry. If I had used the strand of will that father left in my body earlier, you would not have suffered so much. Lu Ruyan stepped forward and apologized to Situ Changfeng. This young lady had been feeling guilty all this time. Situ Changfeng smiled casually and said, "You should learn from Morong Yen. I saved this fellow's life several times, but he did not say a word of thanks." Clearly, Situ Changfeng did not mind Lu Ruyan's teasing and did not blame her. Lu Ruyan giggled. Only then did she feel relieved. Strangely, Morong Yen did not retort. Everyone looked around. Be it Wei Hongfei, Duanfei, or Xiao Chen, they all revealed smiles. After a calamity, one would understand many things. How fortunate was it to have such a group of friends and brothers to take risks and live together. Chapter 1968. In the ancient city, after Qin Outyan's group died and only 3 people remained, they finally escaped the pursuit of the flood dragon humans. Those people seemed to have retreated. Zhongli said cautiously as he sized up the surroundings after not seeing any movement for a long time. Beside him, Lu Yunfei's shoulder was bleeding profusely. His injury was terrifying. "Junior brother, is your arm okay?" Zhongli asked sullenly. Of the White Dragon Palace disciples that came with him, only Lu Yunfei remained. The price he had to pay for this opportunity was a little too high. Most importantly, they didn't get any fortuitous encounters at all. After entering the city, they took the wrong path and entered the east gate. Not long after, the group ran into Yan Songming and Jin Yuan. These 2 freakishly strong people managed to injure the group within a few moves. As for Qin Outyan, Zhongli could only say that he had been blind to think that Qin Outyan was someone important. He had inherited Dao artifacts and grasped several great Daos at the same time. Before he met a true expert, he was truly boundlessly strong. Xiao Chen felt that he was practically unrivaled among holy venerates. He gained many fortuitous encounters in desolate God Valley. However, Qin Outyan did not last even 10 moves against Yan Songming and veritable essence energy. Qin Outyan ended up severely injured within 10 moves, losing all his aura and being scared out of his wits. If Xiao Chen had all these inherited Dao tools, not to mention defeating Yan Songming, he would at least be able to protect himself. Thinking about himself, he did not even have a decent inherited Dao tool. This fellow was really lucky. Zhongli, just as Xiao Chen was examining Lu Yunfei's injuries, Qin Outyan suddenly walked over and grabbed Xiao Chen's collar with a sullen expression. "Qin Outyan, what are you doing?" Zhongli turned pale with fright. He even saw a trace of killing intent in Qin Outyan's eyes. Qin Outyan demanded coldly, "Tell me, what is your relationship with that white-robed bladesman? Why did he help you block Qin Outyan?" After recovering from his shock, Zhongli's expression slowly calmed down. He did not reply and only pointed his finger. In an instant, the tip of his finger shone with a cold light and was extremely sharp. Qin Outyan was slightly startled, and he let go and retreated. Zhongli said indifferently. Qin Outyin, don't get touchy with me. I do not know the person you are talking about. Qin Outyin smiled and said, you are actually playing dumb with me. But it doesn't matter. Since I already know his name, I will find out his identity sooner or later. Zhongli found this strange. Just what kind of enmity did this fellow have with Xiao Chun for him to endure for so long? After confirming that there was no danger, he immediately erupted. Boom. Just at this moment, an aura enveloped them. Qin Outyin, Zhongli, and Lu Yunfei were immediately restricted, unable to move. Their hearts were filled with fear, and their eyes were filled with terror. Is it them? Looking carefully, he discovered that the source of all this aura was an old man wearing a constellation robe on the opposite roof. Beside him was a young man. The young man shook his head and said, not them. For some unknown reason, when the young man said that it wasn't them, Qin Outyin and the other two heaved a sigh of relief. There are 2 auras of dragon race cultivators in the city. Since it is not them, it should be another group of people. Just as the sovereign emperor Hua Qin was about to leave, he suddenly waved his hand in the air, and a portrait of Xiao Chun appeared clearly before the 3. Do you recognize him? The expressions of Zhongli and the other 2 changed slightly. However, at this moment, even Qin Outyin could not be stupid enough to say that he knew Xiao Chun. The 3 shook their heads and denied it. Hua Qingyun smiled coldly and said, what clumsy acting skills. Since you know this person, grandfather, just kill them. Qin Outyin and the other 2 immediately felt like crying. What was going on? This was especially so for Qin Outyin. He cursed all 18 generations of Xiao Chun's ancestors in his heart. Xiao Chun offended a sovereign emperor for no reason at all. What exactly did he do? Hua Qin remained expressionless. He stretched out his hand and grabbed Qin Outyin like he was a little chick. All Hua Qin needed to do was squeeze gently, and he could kill Qin Outyin like he was squashing an ant. Qin Outyin was so frightened that tears leaked out of his eyes. He felt a chill in his pants. He had actually lost control. Hua Qin revealed a look of disgust in his eyes. However, just as he was about to make a move, he sensed a trace of a pure golden dragon royal bloodline in Qin Outyin's body. To think that the purple gold dragon emperor's bloodline has such a cowardly descendant. How laughable. The sovereign emperor Hua Qin revealed a disdainful expression as he tossed Qin Outyin back to the ground. When Hua Qingyun heard that, he could only give up on killing Qin Outyin. He looked towards the center of the city and said, Grandfather, there seems to be some fortuitous encounter there. The sovereign emperor Hua Qin replied indifferently, it is just a pile of divine crystal fragments. They are not of much use. After I deal with the matter at hand, I will get them to spit them out. The incomplete divine crystal did not hold much attraction to Hua Qin. However, it would be a pretty good reward for a sovereign personage of the sect. Whoosh! The 2's figures flashed, and they left this place. Am I dead? After Qin Outyin was tossed to the ground, he still had not recovered his wits. It was like he was scared silly. Zhongli and Lu Yunfei heaved a long sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, at the last moment, they relied on the clan behind Qin Outyin to survive. However, the 2 felt somewhat embarrassed and did not look at Qin Outyin. Senior brother, senior sister Ruyun is still with Xiao Chun, Lu Yunfei said when he thought of something. Zhongli looked in the direction that the sovereign emperor left and said, let's follow and take a look. If we can find senior sister before this sovereign emperor, we might still make it in time. Let's go. The 2 knew Lu Ruyun's identity. Earlier, they left her behind because they felt that she would not die if she was with Xiao Chun and the others. However, now that a sovereign emperor was here, the situation was different. As cultivators of the white dragon race, the 2 still had some conscience. However, while they had good intentions, how could they be faster than a sovereign emperor? Back in the herb garden, Xiao Chun sensed that the demon blood vulture had already shaken off the holy sun Ming Xian. He relaxed and decided to leave the city immediately before meeting up with the demon blood vulture. Aside from Xiao Chun, everyone else in the ancient city had gained something, and was already satisfied. Everyone agreed to the suggestion of leaving. You want to leave just like that? Who knew? Just as the group left the herb garden, A familiar voice rang out from the roof in front. Hua Qingyuan. When the group saw the source of that voice, they were greatly startled. They had clearly worked together to restrain this person. At this moment, Hua Qingyuan should be in the heavens suspending war chariot outside the city. Why was he in the ancient city? Xiao Chen's heart sank. Suddenly he thought of a possibility. Then he said, "Let's go." Murong Yan and the others did not understand why they should fear Hua Qingyuan. However, since Xiao Chen said it, it was better to listen to him. At this moment, Xiao Chen could only place his hopes on that person. He was greedy for the divine crystals in the center of the city, and did not come with them. Bang! 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 The group soared into the air. However, they crashed into an invisible barrier in the air and bounced back. Xiao Chen landed firmly on the ground with a grave expression. He knew that the thing that he did not want to happen the most had happened. Since Xiao Chen learned of this Hua Qingyuan's identity, he had thought about how to deal with this person. Originally, he wanted to release this person after leaving ancient desolate town. Xiao Chen thought that a sovereign emperor expert would not make things difficult for them, the juniors. If Hua Qingyuan came to seek trouble, he would just be seeking his own humiliation. There was no need to worry. Unexpectedly, that mysterious sovereign emperor cared so much about Hua Qingyuan that he personally came to seek trouble. When Hua Qingyuan saw Murong Yan fly up in disbelief and get knocked down again and again, he mocked. "Go ahead and fly. Aren't there a bunch of dragons? Why are you all not flying anymore?" Even without Xiao Chen's reminder, the others already felt that something was wrong. Xiao Chen looked around and said indifferently, "Senior, just show yourself. Since you are already here, why are you still afraid of embarrassing yourself before us juniors?" Humph! A cold snort rang out. Xiao Chen and the others felt like they were struck by lightning. Their souls trembled, and their qi and blood surged. They could no longer endure it, and vomited a mouthful of blood, their complexions paling. Hua Qingyuan slowly walked out and looked coldly at Xiao Chen and the others, not saying anything. A sovereign emperor. Despair surged in the hearts of Murong Yan and the others. This old man was definitely someone who surpassed sovereign personage. The pressure he gave off was too strong. There was no way around it. Interesting. To think that a mixed blood dragon has more backbone than the purple gold dragon emperor's descendant. When the sovereign emperor Hua Qin saw that Xiao Chen remained standing, showing no intention of begging for mercy in his eyes, he revealed a trace of appreciation. "However, I like to torture people with backbone the most." The sovereign emperor Hua Qin flicked his finger, and two cracking sounds rang out. Xiao Chen's calves shattered, and he fell to his knees. Amid the intense pain, Xiao Chen clenched his teeth in silence. He stabbed the tyrant's saber into the ground with his right hand, and supported himself on one knee. "Xiao Chen." Lu Ruyan rushed over and supported Xiao Chen, glaring at Hua Qin. However, Xiao Chen's gaze remained incredibly calm, not showing any fluctuations. The sovereign emperor Hua Qin asked, "Don't you hate me? I am not as skilled as others. What is there to hate? However, I will take responsibility for my own actions. I killed the Heavenly Lodging Palace's people. It has nothing to do with others," Xiao Chen said, enunciating every word as he looked at the sovereign emperor Hua Qin. "If you dare to touch him again, I swear that I will make you pay the price." Lu Ruyun supported Xiao Chen as she looked at the sovereign emperor Hua Qin. Her valiant face looked somewhat scary. The White Dragon King's descendant? The sovereign emperor Hua Qin looked at Lu Ruyun. When he saw the royal white dragon bloodline in her, some surprise flashed in his eyes. However, Hua Qin soon smiled coldly. "I just killed a mixed blood dragon. Do you think that the White Dragon King is your father? He only has a royal bloodline. At most, he can guarantee your death." Having a royal bloodline did not mean that one was a direct descendant of the royal bloodline. It was just like how Qin Outyan was definitely not a descendant of the purple gold dragon emperor. He was just a relative of that bloodline. "Sorry, I am really her father." Faint laughter came from the surroundings. Then, a figure that looked like a white dragon suddenly appeared. This figure clashed with Hua Qin's palm strike. Boom. The shock waves spread out. All the buildings within 50 kilometers that were not protected by special formations turned to ashes. Blood leaked out of a corner of the sovereign Emperor Hua Qin's lips. Horror flashed in his eyes as he staggered back a few steps. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.